The Toronto Raptors win. Yo, that's great. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it two ways. You can't, on the one hand, say, well, you beat a depleted lineup, and at the same time, be willing to completely shit on this team if they had lost that game. John Hamilton saying, hit that like button. Absolutely. There are a lot of positives for the Toronto Raptors to take away from tonight. This is a feel good win. As far as I can see, this is one of those games where, you know, you just you get one that you're supposed to get and you even out your season a little bit. You get to 3-4 on the season. You got a slightly easy schedule coming up. You're going to get to face the Hawks without, you're going to get to face the Hawks without Trey Young, and you've already beat the Hawks. So, this is a chance to sort of stat pad your schedule a little bit, stat pad your win total a little bit. And I think the Raptors got a lot of really great performances tonight. Not the least of which, I think it's pretty impressive that some of your best players played incredible basketball tonight. Brandon Ingram was a revelation as an isolation scorer, as a connective piece, as a playmaker in the pick and roll. This is about the best offense consistently that I've seen from Brandon Ingram. But I was also very impressed with his defense and his rebounding and that one block that he got on Cedric Coward. That was awesome. I like this game from RJ Barrett. There will be no, RJ Barrett slander tonight. Keep it out of my way, right? He just played a really good game, really, within the rhythm, everything within the rhythm. Looked for the pitch ahead pass once to Scotty, once very much to the backboard, once for Grady in transition. I liked that RJ was willing to get off the ball. Not a great game for Emmanuel Quickley once again, but at least he limited his impact by not taking a lot of shots and not sucking up a lot of possessions and allowing, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and RJ Barrett to kind of be the guys for the offense. Brilliant game for CMB. Criticized his finishing at the rim a lot. Factored in, of course, that he has played against some very, very heavy size lineups so far into the season. He has been playing against mega lineups. I don't necessarily want to impugn you for not being able to finish over Victor Wembanyama and Evan Mobley, especially when you're being tasked to guard those guys on the defensive end. It's a really hard thing that they're asking CMB to do on a nightly basis. So I do think that this was probably his most complete game. And I don't think he hit a single three tonight. It was all in the paint, and his paint finishing was very impressive tonight. So this is a very, very good game for CMB. And of course, Scotty Barnes, man, complete game. Got on the glass, didn't finish well around the rim, got a lot of me bounds. Shout outs to Angel Reese, shout outs to Moses Malone. Got a ton of me bounds, got a lot of, self rebounding, opportunities, made a lot of really great passes, had 5 blocks, I believe, tonight. Just a really brilliant all around game for Scotty Barnes. And this is the most dialed in from end to end that I've seen him this season. Yeah, there were a couple of moments where, the shot wasn't falling and he looked a little bit frustrated. There was one moment where, he clearly got fouled in the back and he got mad at the referee, but it was next play. There's bigger things on the horizon. There's bigger things on the docket right now. I don't need to be worrying about this right now. And he went on to the next play. The call-in link is in the description below. I'm going to put it here as well. I would love to hear from you guys in terms of what you thought about today's game. We are going to get into the film breakdown just after we get to the game summary. Let's talk about this game. The Toronto Raptors win a lot. First of all, Rafael Montano. Is it Rafael or Rafael? Let me know. Shout outs to you for being a member for 2 months. Is CMB on the top 5 of the rookie class? Certainly, if he's hitting shots like this at the rim, if he's hitting his threes, the way that he plays defense, the fact that he's having to play out of position, the fact that he is in a very space deprived situation, honestly, yeah, 100%. He is top 5 of this rookie class so far. I think he's a really intelligent basketball player, and I have to sometimes shake my head and just say, that's a rookie out there. He doesn't feel like a rookie, especially compared to some of the other players he's playing with, like Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter, who look far, far more like rookies than CMB. So shout outs, man. CMB has been awesome to start this season. And as I said, I think a couple lives ago, this is the second most impactful rookie that I've seen in Toronto in like 10 years. And the first was Scotty Barnes. So it's been really good to see. And I think like with CMB, I think the bust potential was very, very low to begin with. Like the chances that he was just going to come out and just be terrible and you were going to regret drafting him, like a Jet Howard situation or, Cody Williams situation, that was already very low because he had proven so much at South Carolina. I think my biggest questions with him were shooting and finishing over length. He's answered the first question by willing to take those shots, by working with Ima Simovic. The way that he is taking those shots in rhythm with confidence was great. Tonight, he finished over length. Jaren Jackson, Santi Aldama, Jock Landale. This is not exactly an undersized team, even as they are missing Zach Edey, which probably would have complicated things a lot if you're the Raptors. I still think this is a pretty big team. And the fact that he's able to finish through contact and guard up a position with his strength has been very impressive to see so far. So let's take a look at this game. The Raptors win a lot of the categories tonight. They don't shoot blistering percentages. Like the Raptors have been shooting an unsustainable record, like pace from three. And it's been ridiculous. And I just have felt like they don't really have the shooting talent to keep that pace up on the long term. Like they just really don't. And so watching the Toronto Raptors tonight shoot 29% from three and still win this game very comfortably by 13 points was really just great to see. Overall, awesome to see. Scotty Barnes, I think, anchored a lot of the defense. It's nice to see that a team that was occasionally flirting with giving up 140 points every single game is now getting back to holding teams around 100. That's really good to see. And Scotty has to be this dialed in defensively. Still a ton of mistakes to clean up, on the perimeter, but there was far more activity off the ball tonight and a far more cohesion in terms of the defensive execution tonight. I don't think the scheme has changed that much, but I think the execution of the scheme has changed a lot. The Toronto Raptors win the assist margin. This is a regular occurrence, with Darko Rajakovic. They almost always win the assist margin, so that's good to see. And they also win the stocks battle. They managed to turn it over a little bit more, but they also win the fast break points battle. They win the points in the paint battle, and their largest lead was 16. This was a very comfortable win for this team. Overall, good to see. Really good to see from this team. And, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Looking at more of the individual performances, the Grizzlies were without Ja Morant. They were without Ty Jerome. They're already without Desmond Bane, who got traded this offseason. Obviously, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a contract at this point, more so than a player. And, starting camp, they're also without Scottie Pippen Jr. So they're without a ton of players. Zach Edey. They didn't play Gigi Jackson, who I actually think is a pretty good player. It was interesting to see Omax prosper in the game. I thought his minutes were the only really positive minutes for this team, and it's ironic that he was a +6. They went on a really big run in the fourth quarter with him, or end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, and Omax is a Canadian guy. I really am kind of frustrated that we didn't go after him because, we have a roster spot, and obviously, we have a need for a player like this, and he was probably shout out to Omax. Like he's a good young player. He's athletic, exactly the type of player we really don't have a lot of on this roster. So, kind of frustrating to see us not go after him, but c'est la vie. And Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, and rookie Cedric Howard, who posted 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists off the bench. Cedric looked very composed, and in his direct head-to-head matchups with Jacoby and Grady, Cedric being like another top 11 type of pick in the same range as Grady, Jacoby area, the middle first. It was very interesting to see, a guy from Division III basketball who was considering going back to Duke this year just so thoroughly outplay these guys, like so thoroughly be on a different class as these guys. His composure is so impressive so far into the young season. There's a reason why he's getting a lot of Rookie of the Year buzz. I don't think he's going to win it. I think a lot of that is being buoyed by some heavy shooting variance floating in his direction, but he looked every bit the part of a very impressive rookie. He just didn't hit a 3 tonight. For the Raptors, Brandon Ingram puts up 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. RJ Barrett, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and Scotty Barnes with 19 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 blocks. Almost gave you like one of those Wemby stat lines. You know what I mean? Like it's just impressive to watch Some of the blocks that he got were really impressive. He took 8 threes tonight. RJ took 8 threes. They connected on a combined 5 for 16. So that's a big part of why you don't shoot very well tonight. Brandon Ingram goes 1 for 2 or 1 for 3. Sight for sore eyes. Literally, when Emmanuel quickly hit his first three, I thought in my head, that's a sight for sore eyes. And then the broadcast says, that's a sight for sore eyes. I'm like, oh my God. Like, are we all thinking the same thing? Like, can Emmanuel quickly finally start shooting threes? Well, it's a good thing that he only took 5 shots tonight. And it's a great thing that he made 50% of his threes. Nice to see because he's been shooting sub 30% the entire season so far. So, young season, but nice to see Emmanuel quickly not force the issue too much and get off the ball pretty quickly. A lot of Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett initiated possessions tonight. So that was good, and hopefully Emmanuel quickly gets the message that, hey, when we play like this, when we play a little bit more egalitarian, I get off the ball, I'll find my offense at some point. He was able to take 5 shots. He probably could have taken a few more. But yeah, overall, like you want the other guys to eat. And, shit, Grady got more shots than him. CMB got more shots than him. Scotty, Barrett, and Ingram got more shots than him. But a win is a win, a 13-point win at home. The first Raptor home win this season has been very good. Grady had some abysmal moments defensively, really, gave up a lot, but also some very encouraging moments getting on the glass, just trying to do the right thing. And he finally hit some shots, and he finally hit a 3 from that corner. So that was all good to see, attack the rim with a lot of ferocity. I think Jamal Shed, who was a game time decision or was questionable coming into this game, I think he played really well. He put up 9 points and 5 assists and was really steadying force for that second unit. Sandro Mamukelashvili only getting 11 minutes was a little bit confusing to me. Just a very uncharacteristic. Like, was it a matchup thing? Was it because CMB was rolling that we decided to go with a little less Sandro Mamukelashvili? Jamison Battle, after the night that he had, I didn't understand him being out of the rotation. I don't really think you got a ton from Grady. 8 points might be a sight for sore eyes for some people who have been watching Grady put up, very abysmal box scores. But I promise you, the impact was nothing close to what Sandro and Jamison have been doing this season. So I was a little bit strange. It was a little bit strange to see that, but maybe the Raptors coaching staff is like, hey, like, let's get this guy some run against a slightly weaker team just to build his confidence up. We need him. And you know what, honestly, if you decide to execute on a deal, maybe Grady is Grady playing well might be the tipping point of that deal at the trade deadline. So who knows? But anyways, Jacoby Walter continues to struggle with his shot. He missed both of his threes, but really impressed with what he did defensively. And I felt like the Raptors had a lot of steadiness with him on the court, although he is the only Raptor that posted a pause. He and Ochai are the only Raptors who posted negative plus minus tonight. But I don't think that's necessarily indicative of them. And I just think they were on the court at the wrong time when those runs happened. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about the bench. I was thinking if Jamison Battle, had gotten into the game, I think I would have been a little bit more pleased about it personally. Like I like to see good plays be rewarded. And I don't think I think with the way he played and kind of bailed you out of the last game, I think he probably deserved some minutes here. But anyways, let's look at the game. Let's look at the film breakdown. And yo, man, if y'all want to call in, I will drop the link in the description once again. This isn't going to be a super duper long live, I don't think. This is not, I mean, no offense to the Memphis Grizzlies, but this is not exactly like one of those games that requires a ton of dissection. I think beyond the film breakdown, if y'all have a lot to say, definitely call in, talk to me about what you saw tonight. But I don't have a ton of massive takeaways. This is amazing, right? But this was about as good as I expect this team to look against this team that they were facing, right? Here, CMB finds RJ Barrett cutting. Great screen by Brandon Ingram, which finds RJ Barrett for one of his many dunks tonight. And, he was a dunk factory tonight. He had a couple of mega dunks, including a putback dunk. I said, good D Grady Dick. This is what you want from a guy who's 6'8" with this type of wingspan and length. It's just be active, right? Active off the ball. Now here he's aware of his man, right? And he just tips his pass, aware of the backdoor cut, tips this pass, and what does it do? Immediately triggers a transition opportunity, and look at CMB push Santi Aldama out of the way. There is a play where CMB got robbed of 2 points, where it was a dunk on a behind the back pass from RJ Barrett, where Santi Aldama clearly had his hand underneath the basket. RJ Barrett was being upset with CMB for not finishing that dunk. I don't know what is going on with that, man. You don't need to be upset with that. Here, Jamal Shed. I trust Jamal Shed so much more than I trust Emmanuel Quickly to just make the right decisions. And this is the right decision. Doesn't project this, doesn't pick up his dribble. Brilliant. Find Scotty spotting up from his shot. Good stuff, man. Scotty hit 3 3-pointers tonight, continues to shoot relatively well. Let me mute the soundtrack before I get a copyright, but this was the one low light that we will look at. This is actually one of 3 low lights we'll look at. This was just like, man, you really costing Scotty 2 points here. Like, this super off target. Like, he has a 6'3" point guard sealed. He's got a 7'4" wingspan. Like we got to, and this triggers transition the other way. So yeah, I said Scotty is learning the way of me bounds. Like, his finishing was just really rough tonight. Like, how is it that you are not finishing this? And, maybe part of it was just like, hey, man, I got some free rebounds here. I can out jump Santi Aldama. You know what I mean? So interesting. Now, I said stop picking up your dribble. Now watch this drive by Emmanuel Quickly, right? Now, honestly, Sandro probably shouldn't cut here just because the defender drops. Probably just stay in place and give Quickly that swing back pass to a 3-point shooter. But here, Mamu is sort of coming in and congesting it. And now the spacing is kind of fucked up. You got Scotty Barnes, popping up for 3. But who's asking Emmanuel Quickly to pick up his dribble every single game? Like he does this so often and so consistently. Yeesh. Okay. I said Brandon Ingram locking up. Okay, look, I've watched Brandon Ingram for a very long time. Defense has always left a lot to be desired. Now, he talked about playing good defense coming into this year, and I took him at face value on that because Brandon Ingram's not a liar. So here, watch Ingram guarding. I love it. You know what I mean? Forces to travel. Beautiful on Vince Williams Jr. Vince is a good player. But, Brandon Ingram has a lot of length here. Now, watch the Raptors defense, how it should be executed. Now, a lot has been made of, do the Raptors send a lot of random doubles? Okay, cool. I get you. Okay, they do. But also, watch this. Now, here, Jacoby is going to set double team on Jaren Jackson, which is a strong double, right? You're making this pass hard. You can see Jaren Jackson's body language immediately goes from very relaxed to very stressed because the double comes quickly, right? Now, because RJ Barrett makes this rotation, this is not a wide open 3. You see Jamal Shed now cover out to the top, and you see Jacoby Walter come to the corner to cover that, and we are back reset. And here, this is going to be a reset pass to Jaren Jackson, and Colin Murray-Boyles is able to get out and contest relatively well, a little bit late. And that's how the Raptors defense has to work. It's not perfect, but that is a marked improvement over where this team has been with that exact same, defensive scheme the entire way through. Here, Brandon Ingram just proving to you once and for all, he is not selfish at all. Like, he is always willing to make the extra pass. Here, RJ Barrett, I don't know what you're doing. Just like trying to look for this pass just in the way, but making this a little bit more complicated. But hey, man, no problem here. Good stuff. I said more Ingram pick and roll possessions, please, because I talk about this with Emmanuel Quickly a lot. I don't really love his pick and roll possessions. They're sometimes a little bit stagnant. If this is Emmanuel Quickly, guaranteed he picks up his dribble right here. He stops, he sort of freezes, he projects his pass, and it gets picked off. But here, Ingram being a 6'8", 6'9", dynamic playmaker. Look at this wonderful pass over Jock Landale. Boom. Beautiful alley-oop for CMB. Just beautiful, man. Okay, I said, are you sure we didn't get enough for Pascal Siakam? Behind the back, boom. Here takes two defenders, doesn't move his pivot foot. Probably should have gotten an and one for that. That is just really great shit. And I said, Scotty Barnes is locked down. Watch this, right? On one play, we're going to see Scotty just block Spencer at the rim. And the next play, here, Jalen Wells, shot clock down, trying to get this shot to go off. And Scotty says, you don't get 5 blocks by accident. Scotty was really dialed in today, and I loved it. Justin T saying BI is so talented. Now, that has never been for debate, man. Okay. I said RJ Barrett took an elevator to the south floor. I mean, this is a play that is going to be on every highlight package from now until forever. Okay. Just a great high motor, high activity, high awareness dunk for RJ Barrett. Good shit. I said 30 seconds of the Emmanuel Quickley experience. You really do have to sometimes stop and marvel at how Emmanuel Quickley is able to screw up things that are so basic. Now, honestly, the right pass here is probably right here to CMB. Likely with your left hand, right past Santi Aldama's head. Like that's the right pass. Beyond that, it's probably not this. Like the idea that this becomes a turnover when you had the advantage with CMB, sort of coming up to play, Grady popping up. Like it's really disgusting that this goes away. And here, right, like just an excuse me blow by for no apparent reason whatsoever. Yikes. Like you give up this excuse me blow by, like move your feet, put a body into this dude. Stop putting your bigs in foul trouble. Like y'all ask why Jakob Poeltl was constantly in foul trouble. Yeah, it's partially because of this. And here you have RJ, Grady, and Emmanuel Quickley on the floor together. This is a recipe for a lot of fouls, and this is a recipe for a lot of blow-bys. It's a problem. Okay. I said Scotty Barnes has been amazing. Now watch this play. It's the small things, right? It's the small things that kind of go unnoticed. Here, this is a 50-50, loose ball on an offensive rebound. Scotty is going to get a hand on this. Boom. Immediate pass to Ochai. Ochai passes to Grady. Grady skip passes it across to Scotty. Defense shifts for some reason, parting the Red Sea wide open, and Scotty is not a selfish player, and RJ Barrett patiently waits for Santi Aldama to go right by him. That's awesome. And look at this play. It's not just the blocks, it's also this. This was awesome. Okay, this is Scotty Barnes in his element. Watch this. This is a surefire with Grady Dick as a primary defender trying to guard a 7-foot Santi Aldama. This is a surefire dunk. Here, Scotty is going to take that dunk away by just ripping the ball away from Santi Aldama and just being a lot tougher and quickly passing ahead to Ochai Agbaji. There's no lag with Scotty. He is premium, like he is the premium internet that Rodgers cannot provide, right? And I said, RJ Barrett, oh my God. Once again, opportunistic, hunting this on a catches Jock Londale, not a great shot blocker, off balance. And here, Londale tries to contest this. That's a poster. That is a poster. Send that poster to Mississauga. Put it on the walls. Put it on the bus stops, man. In Mississauga. That's awesome. I said CMB has been all heart. 15 points. He's just really great. Here, attacking former Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson, by the way. A lot of length. And that length causes the miss, but no problem. Here, he's just going to out-rebound his own teammate. 2 Raptors going for the ball. That was a frequent occurrence tonight. And he's just going to get it off the glass. I said Scotty iced the game. Dope. 19 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks. He actually ended up with a little bit more than that. think he ended up with 8 assists, but nevertheless, once again, took former Defensive Player of the Year Jaren Jackson one-on-one, shook him, and boom, there's the touch. With the left hand, by the way, Scotty with the left hand over and over tonight. It's really interesting. I wonder if there's something wrong with his right hand because he is working off his left hand a lot. Left hand hook, left hand layup, left hand floater, left hand everything tonight. So it's very interesting. I wonder if there's something going on with his hand, but overall, just really, really dope performance all around. This is a feel good performance for the Toronto Raptors. There's really nothing to hang your head about tonight. Shout outs to Marion Booth. Shout outs to Miriam and Mark Booth. Really great people. I've had a chance to connect with them. And thank you for becoming a member. That's really awesome. They do a lot of great stuff, with healthy smoothies and all that stuff. OT87, CMB, Darko's second most trusted defender after 4. Well, it's slim pickings, my friend, but yes. CMB certainly has proven himself to be a very high motor, very high IQ defender. And I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with your 9th overall pick, your defensive specialist 9th overall pick being this good defensively and this trusted defensively. He is a very, very good young player in terms of defensive awareness and all that stuff. Like he's just been, very awesome in that regard. Are the Spurs really getting blown out by the Phoenix Suns right now? Yikes. This is real life? Yes, it is real life. Victor Wembanyama with 2 points. Can't wait for the panel tomorrow. That's going to be ridiculous. Wemby's not really that good, I guess. Ugh. But hey, when you win a ton of games, you get a little bit of a mark on you, you know what I mean? And shoot, that's crazy. Nick Richards with 10 points. I've been saying Nick Richards is pretty trash for, a long time. Kaman Malowach has not entered the game. Are the Phoenix Suns entering their contention arc right now, benching and icing their 10th overall pick? I don't know. But anyways, that's a very interesting game that's rolling on right now. The NBA has been very interesting today overall. A couple blowout wins. One for the Thunder, beating the shit out of the Pelicans. The Pelicans moved to 0-6. The Thunder moved to 6-0. It's very interesting that the Thunder have 3 picks in the next draft potentially, and the Pelicans have 0, or at least they don't have their own pick. That is a really, really bad place to be if you are, in fact, the New Orleans Pelicans, because you are heading in for a disaster season. That team does not defend. Trey Murphy looks like a shell of himself. Herb Jones looks really bad. Jeremiah Fears is awesome, but once again, like Zion is posting the worst impact metrics of his career. So, yeah, I mean, takeaways for the Raptors tonight. What would you guys like to talk about? Let's see. Shannon Ferguson saying RJ has lift this year. I haven't seen this lift from him since Montverde. Must have dropped pounds. I think he actually got stronger, if I'm being honest. Like he looks more explosive than he has in many years. Very often, RJ was also a below the rim finisher. He was kind of like slugging through finishes at the rim. A lot of them were short. A lot of them were under the rim. I think this year he looks a lot more explosive. I don't know if he got in with a new strength trainer, but I agree with your observation that he has looked a lot more bursty this year. And I think he looks more muscular, and he just seems to be moving guys out of the way a lot. Haroon saying Alvin said he got taller. Well, unfortunately, Haroon, people don't usually get taller at 25, but he looks a lot more solid, right? I've been saying Harper just got ruled out with a calf strain. Yikes. That's tough. They really need Dylan Harper, man. He seems to be the only guy who's got it going tonight. But anyways, yeah, overall, I think this is a good team win. Let's take a look at the Toronto Raptors schedule moving forward. Let me just pull this off for a second. Armin saying Cade has played better the last couple of games. Yes, he has. Okay, so pull up the Raptors schedule. So from here, the Toronto Raptors, it does get a little bit easier. You do face a Milwaukee team that is for sure going to be out for blood. I think the Milwaukee Bucks will be on a back-to-back because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they do play tomorrow, right? Like I think they play Indiana tomorrow. And so you'll be facing them on a back-to-back. So that's positive, I guess. But obviously, you'll have the same issues trying to guard Giannis, trying to guard Miles Turner, trying to guard Ryan Rollins. This is a team that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on you on the offensive glass because of Giannis. And Kyle Kuzma has actually been having a pretty solid season. So, I mean, that's not an easy game by any means. Atlanta, Philly, Brooklyn. I feel like this is the right time to face these teams, right? Like Philly is going in and out. Like we're obviously, Philly has been cooking with, we're going to get a first look at VJ Edgecombe. We're going to get a first look at Tyrese Maxey this year, but these are winnable games, right? It'll depend obviously a lot on whether Joel Embiid plays a lot, but Milwaukee is another game at home, and then after being at home, you are going to go on the road against Atlanta. You're going to go against Philadelphia. You're going to go against Brooklyn, Cleveland, Indiana. That's a 5-game road trip, all Eastern Conference teams. And these are all teams that are going to be fighting for you for the playoffs or the play-in. I mean, Atlanta hasn't looked great this year. This is a really good time for the Raptors to build some confidence and actually, start winning some games, right? I mean, to be honest, like win some games here, right? So you've got to start looking at, and I mean, after that, it's very, very simple, right? You got Charlotte, Philadelphia, Washington, Brooklyn. So let's just assume that I predict that they lose 2 of these, right? So if they lose, okay, let's say you lose to Milwaukee, you're 3-5, you beat Atlanta, you beat Philadelphia, you're 5-5, you beat Brooklyn, you're 6-5, you lose to Cleveland, you're 6-6. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-game win streak. You can be 11-6. And 11-6 versus where we were 1-4 is a really big difference in terms of just the feeling around the team, the belief. I feel like there's certain teams that maybe they need to be doing pretty well for them to feel good about themselves. And this is one of those teams where I feel like they might need to feel a little bit better about themselves to feel good about their prognosis going forward. Does that make sense at all? Like, they do not strike me as a team that is going to get behind the 8 ball on the schedule, be 2-12 or 5-13 and be like, let's get out of here, guys. Like, no, this is probably a team that needs to have a little bit of a lead and at least needs to play with a little bit of comfort. And I don't think they want to get too far behind the 8 ball when it comes to the schedule, because obviously there's going to be tough stretches of the schedule at some point, right? At some point. But I think the Raptors have actually cleared a really, really tough part of their schedule already, and they've come out of it relatively unscathed. I mean, if I told you to start the season, most people would assume you would lose to Memphis, you would lose to Cleveland, you would lose to Houston, you would probably lose to San Antonio, you'd probably lose to Dallas, you might win against Milwaukee, and you probably lose to Atlanta. I mean, and had all those things happened, which is to say, if the Raptors were right now, instead of 3-4, they were 1-6, I would still say you're still okay and you're still possibly on pace for 45, 46 wins. But you've gotten lucky a little bit. Cleveland was undermanned. Memphis was undermanned. Houston is permanently undermanned, right? Like, you're getting lucky a little bit, right? Like right now, you could say maybe Phoenix is getting lucky on the schedule because San Antonio seems to be a little bit out of gas right now. And then now they're going to be missing Dylan Harper. Maybe the schedule gods are always going to, help some teams and hurt some teams. Okay, we got Professor Pixel calling in. Shout outs to Daryl. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. What's up?
All right, good. Oh, I might be less pixely today, hey?
Yeah, you're not really living up to your little moniker, your little name there.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
No, I'm good.
Professor Better Pixel is today. What's up?
That's right, exactly. No, it's good. I'm like you said, it was a feel good win. You could just tell that they were going to win this game right from the beginning, pretty much. I was listening to the Memphis broadcast, and it was I don't know. I can't stomach Jack. I just can't. So, but anyway, I'm happy. It was nice. IQ did the same things that are driving me nuts, but there was one play. There was one play that he pushed the pace, bringing the ball up. He actually got ahead of the defense getting set, and I was like, yes, finally. And then he stopped, and then he waited for the defense to get set, and then as soon as the Grizzlies defense was perfectly set, he threw the ball to somebody, I don't remember who, that was covered already, and I don't think the Raptors scored on that possession, and I lost it. I lost it. So it's just
he's very frustrating at times, isn't he?
Yeah. Something I wanted to mention that I noticed, and that is, you probably remember at the in the last minute of the fourth when BI hit his 1 3-point shot. Do you remember watching? Like, do you remember specifically that play? Or shall I refresh,
please? Yeah, sure. I remember it was a swing, and then swing to BI. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. It was a swing to BI, and BI was actually covered by 2 defenders. I think it was KCP and Vince Williams Jr. maybe. And it was a contested shot by 2 defenders, and he hit it. And I remember thinking at the time, that is a great shot, but why is that a great shot? How could it possibly be a great shot when you are launching a contested 3? And I realized it was a great shot because A, it's Brandon Ingram. Second, the ball had the energy from the swing. Ball has energy. And Brandon Ingram is long. He's got the length. It doesn't matter that there were 2 guys on him. He can shoot over top of both of them. And I was like, this is what we've been missing. We've been screaming about bad shots. Well, people might look at that and say, oh, that was a bad shot. It was not. It was a great shot. It was a great shot. Just my thoughts.
Yeah. I think there was one more swing that probably could have happened to the top of the key. Who was at the top of the key? Do you remember?
No, I don't. Probably IQ.
Okay. Probably better that he just took it then. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm sad to say it, but I'm slowly losing my grip on the Grady train. It's gotta. I want to be patient. I really do, and I do see the potential. But like, I watch other teams very carefully, and I look at their bench, and I see players like Vince Williams playing, and I see Cedric Coward, and I'm just like, these guys are. These teams are waiting for their guys to blossom too, and they are. And we're still waiting for our guy to get it. And it's just like, how much longer can we wait? I don't know.
I hear you.
I've been a supporter of Grady right from the beginning, but I still wish him well. I still like him. I'm still rooting for him, obviously. And it's just like, if we can talk to a New Orleans Pelicans and sell them on Grady's future, or a Utah Jazz, that'll be tough, but maybe
sell
you never know
on his future.
That's right. Sell them on his potential. Be like, this guy,
that sounds like me negotiating with Coach Mo on the Emmanuel Quickly trade. It's just like, exactly. Please take him. Please.
Yeah.
I beg.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I have a question for you. Why do people still say that he's a shooter? That he's a 3-point shooter? Where's the evidence?
Kansas.
That's it, right? That's it. And this anchoring bias. Like, can we capitalize on that before people forget?
Forget that he can shoot.
Forget that what he did at Kansas. Tell people, well, he's just been cold. He's a great shooter. You've seen it. He could do it. He's got a good future. He's long. He's fast. Sell him to a team that likes that kind of player. He can be fast.
Yeah, he's really struggling. He seems to be overthinking everything right now. Like, the brain just seems like very too fast. Like, everything's happening too fast for him right now, which is a little bit strange, if I'm being honest. It's a little bit strange. At this point, it's like, you're in your 3rd year right now. You shouldn't look like a rookie. You shouldn't look less composed than their D3 to prep to pros rookie, Cedric Coward, and you absolutely do. But he has had some incredibly good stretches as well. Like the second half of his first season, the first 25 games of his second season. So if nothing else, he's proving to be extremely inconsistent. the one part that's very consistent is that he is going to be hunted defensively at all times, right? Because the notice is already out. It's like the bulletin is out to the league. When this guy is your closest defender, you can back cut him to death. He's not going to contest you at the rim. He's not going to get around screens, and he's not going to be able to stay in front of you. So what can he do? He can't really do anything. And all the increased strength that they're talking about with him, I don't think they fully factored in for how poor a defender he really is. And he didn't look this bad at Kansas, but when you level up, there's always a chance that your athleticism advantage, like that fringe athleticism advantage that you were holding on to, just goes away, and his has gone away. He doesn't have the speed to blow by his guy. He often gets stopped on every single drive. He's forced to pick up his dribble. He picks up his dribble way too often. He has the Emmanuel Quickly disease as well, you know, and he's missing a lot of like open passes. Like, so, you know, I understand the highest person on Grady in the Raptor space is probably Samson Folk. He's always talking about how good Grady is, how he was his guy at the draft. And of course, my reaction to Grady at the draft, I've tried to scrub that from the internet, which was literally me holding my head down and saying, what the fuck are the Raptors doing? I've tried to be really supportive of Grady. I still hope he really turns it around. But man, it doesn't look great. Now, I was also very, very anti Keontae George, and he's looked pretty good so far this year. So, you know, small sample size, but at least athletically, he's there. You know what I mean? Athletically, there's no like doubt about Keontae George being an NBA athlete. With Grady, it's to be seen. But his movement potential, you know, as a movement shooter is still tantalizing. Maybe some team bites on it as a reclamation project, or maybe the Raptors, you know, stay patient on him as a reclamation project. Who knows?
No, well, value is a thing that diminishes quickly, you know.
Was that a pun?
No, what
Quickly?
Did I miss it? Okay. No, it wasn't.
Value is a
okay. The finishes. Yeah, no, that's true. That should be sewn onto the back of IQ's jersey. You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wanted to ask you, what do you think the gap is between the impact of Shed and IQ? I don't mean how good a player they are. I still think IQ might be a better player than Shed, but the impact in a game, what do you think? Or fit on the team, what's the gap?
Emmanuel Quickly.
And who's leading?
So Jamal Shed, I think, makes cleaner passes. His passes are not nearly. He gets slightly deeper on his drives when he does make passes, and he processes situations a little bit better. So his decision making is about 15 to 25% better. I think his attention to his teammates and understanding his teammates, like, this guy is going to set a screen at this angle and this is how I close the gap. It's the details, actually. It's the details of point guardisms. So like, one thing is when you come off a dribble handoff, right, you can't leave space in that dribble handoff for the defender to get through. Emmanuel Quickly will often cut wide and leave a lot of space, whereas Shed will come right body to body. Defensively, Quickly is longer, bigger, stronger. He's got a lot on, well, I don't know about stronger, but, you know, relatively close. He's got a lot of physical advantages, but Shed just has a better nose for the basketball. He has a sonar on the basketball. Like, he has learned this masterful trick from Davion Mitchell of forcing offensive fouls on the screen. So yeah, I mean, the difference in favor of Quickly is, I think Quickly's paint finishing is a hell of a lot better right now. I think his floater range stuff, when that comes back around, is a lot better. I also think, largely, I think it would be fair to say that Emmanuel Quickly is the significantly better shooter, and he's guarded like the significantly better shooter. There's no way a defense is just going to wave off Quickly, whereas they wave off CMB, Scotty Barnes, occasionally RJ Barrett, and Jamal Shed. So I think Shed on a team with positive spacing would be a lot better than he is currently. But right now, he plays on a team with a lot of negative spacing. I also really do like Shed's pick and roll play a lot better, because navigation of pick and roll. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a conversation talent wise, but in terms of what this team needs occasionally when they do have Brandon Ingram. Because again, without Brandon Ingram, there's no question Immanuel Quickley is necessary. But with Brandon Ingram, I think Shed just kind of gets out of the way a little bit better. Yeah, that's my long answer to that. Is that fair?
Yeah, how big is the gap between him and impact? Is it close?
I mean, it's significant. Yeah, it's a pretty significant gap. Yeah. In terms of pull-up jump shooting, Immanuel Quickley is a legit sniper historically as a pull-up jump shooter. So I think you can probably look at it and say, yeah, like if he's not hitting his jump shots, it's pretty much in favor of Immanuel Quickley at that point. Like, in favor of Shed at that point. But at the same time, like I think you have to be fair as well and just say, like, there's a big talent gap, there's a size gap, length gap. If Quickley really does commit to the right things mentally, like I don't think he's been all there mentally. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he heard all the trade rumors. Maybe he's upset that he and his, best friend are about to get traded or have been shopped all off season, heard the trade rumors for, I can only project and I can only assume that this can wear on the psyche of an athlete when you think that you're here and you build into a culture. You know what I mean? Like there's probably like a locker room in the NBA that's very like turnstile business oriented, which is like you're here one day, you might not be here. But when you start building up this sort of familial family, we are all family, we are all best friends, we are all going to hang out together kind of culture, you can't then go out of that and then start trading people that are essentially core members of that group without ruffling some feathers. Like the Raptors found this out with DeMar DeRozan, right?
Yep.
The DeMar DeRozan shit doesn't really hit unless you consider how much Masai Ujiri massaged home the fact that this is all like about team, family, loyalty. DeMar is all about loyalty. Again, DeMar is probably not upset that the Chicago Bulls traded him or that Spurs traded him. Like that probably doesn't mean a lot to him. But when the Raptors traded him, it hurts more and it hits more. And I think for everybody who's kind of buying into the facade of family first basketball, it's jarring when your starting point guard and your starting shooting guard are being dangled all off season, and your starting shooting guard and your backup small forward can't get contract extensions. And so it kind of disrupts like that kumbaya mentality, the extra hours you're putting in. And I always believe like the level of faith is always proportionate to the level of betrayal, right? Like that, those feelings are proportionate. It's almost like with Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, kind of watching what happened to DeMar DeRozan, how they were a little reluctant to buy into the kumbaya, sacrifice for the team, stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good chat. I hope
Good
there's
chat,
another
man.
caller.
Yeah,
Yep.
there isn't. But thank you so much, Professor Pixel. And we will chat to you. We'll talk to you later. Peace. Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
one last thing. I just thought of it. You mentioned I loved your T-shirt in the members. The members video yesterday was awesome. You're wearing it. Yeah.
No,
I just wanted to give a shout out to
today. It was today. Don't.
Oh, it's today. Yeah. No, I'm on Monday here in Taiwan.
Okay. So. Don't be making people think I don't change my shirts between days. I definitely change my shirts. I don't change my hoodie, but that's always because I got shirts underneath that are clean. That's why.
All right, fair.
And I only wear my hoodies during lives. Okay. Peace, man.
No, I just wanted to give a shout out to Teacher Mike for his great designs. I have a Teacher Mike T-shirt as well that is literally Jesus dunking on Satan. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool. Hold on, let me try to stand up and show people this shirt. It's like this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it says "Be Great For" on it, so it's really dope. So shout outs to Teacher Mike. For sending that through. By the way, Teacher Mike, some people were actually saying they were interested in getting one. So, yeah. Forest Green saying, ew, same shirt. Dude, it's been 4 hours.
Sorry for saying it was yesterday.
Fuck off. I don't change my shirts based on Asia time, bro. I change my shirts based on Canadian time. At midnight, I will change the shirt. All right. Peace.
See you, man.
See ya. Layne, what's up, man?
Yo,
What's good?
first and foremost, man, I'm sorry about the Jays.
Heartbreaking, indeed.
I I I don't want to like talk baseball the whole time, I promise, but for anyone in the comments who watches baseball, what's and they might have a better grip on it just because Canadian media, maybe stuff that's a little bit closer to Toronto. But why Isaiah Connor Falefa didn't have more of a secondary or a lead off of third when Muncy was so far off on that force play at home plate where Rojas kind of didn't have the grip on it and then got it. And then Will Smith had his foot off and then put it back on home plate to where if IKF, Isaiah Connor Falefa, would have been safe, I mean, that would have been the walk-off.
Mhm.
Why he didn't have a bigger lead, I don't understand. And he was asked about it today, and they told him that the coaching staff told him to play close to the bag. And I understand they were worried about a back pick in that situation, but I mean, like, it's Game 7 of the World Series.
Oh, we lost you.
Worry about that.
I think we lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't understand why he didn't have a bigger secondary. And I think after that, like, to me, it just felt like, man, the inevitable was about ready to happen.
Fairs.
So I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk your shit about whatchamacallit, about Jameson Battle right now because he
Dude,
pretty
I
much
was there in
saved.
person. Oh my
You
God, I
were
was
in
there in
person?
I was in person. I loved it. I loved it.
Dope.
He came in the game, so I wore I got a wig from Party City, a blonde wig, and I cut it like Grady Dick's hair, and I wore my Grady Dick jersey, so I was Grady Dick for Halloween. It was great. When Grady checked in the game, my whole section hated me. But Jameson Battle came in and he made threes. I just turned out to the crowd. I was giving him OHs, like OHIO is what we do for Ohio State because he played at Ohio State and we were in Cleveland, so it was great stuff.
Yeah, it's dope. I'm sure he had some like friends in the stands. I'm sure there was some family in the stands. I mean, he did play at the Ohio State, so that's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, it was very
Spooky
cool.
Ghost Hunter saying Grady cosplay. I love it.
It's a great Grady cosplay. It actually like made me feel like if I dyed my hair blonde, it wouldn't look too bad. Kind of grew on me as the night went on.
Interesting.
But no, it was great. It was great. Someone said IKF was worried about getting doubled off, especially after Barger was doubled off in Game 6. Yeah, I get that. I just feel like they're playing infield and balls on the ground. It's a do or die situation. You can't be in a double play in that scenario. You gotta get into a secondary, especially with Muncy so far off the bag. Like, I understand it, but like as a coach, like I'm reading that third baseman, and when that third baseman tells me he's not making a play at third, there's gonna be no play at third. As that guy at third, I gotta get that extension. So my bad. I'm done talking baseball. I just want to answer that question.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that I learned a little bit more about baseball, but I still feel like I don't understand nearly enough to keep up with what you're talking about. So, yeah.
You'll get there. Trust me.
Bobby saying, I meant he has no idea what Layne is saying about baseball play. 100%. You caught me. I really don't. I can try to understand. I mean, as a reasonably intelligent person, I can sort of figure out what you're saying, but I really have no idea whether what you're saying is right or wrong. I'm at that point. I'm at that point that a lot of people get to with football, where you design a play, and if it works, it's good, and if it doesn't, it's stupid. Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah,
you'll get there for sure. You'll get there, especially if you keep watching. But I will tell you, like, I don't know if anyone's told you yet, like, the random game on May 15th is not going to be as entertaining as anything you saw in the playoffs. Like, that was peak of baseball.
No, I know.
Yeah, that was very.
I know. I have attended actual baseball games and tried to get into it before. It did not work. So I'm not expecting like spring training to be like this interesting. I get that it probably won't be, but at the same time, at least there is an introduction to the team, to the players. I have no idea how many of these players are going to come back. I don't know if Bo Bichette is going to come back. I really don't know. Like,
I tell you what, though, there's some that you do have to tap into. Every 3 years it happens. It's called the World Baseball Classic. Okay. So the United States is in it. Canada's in it. A bunch of the teams in South America are in it. Right. It's really, really great. Like, I know you don't follow hockey, but instead of the All-Star game this past year, hockey did the Four Nations face-off. where they had the 4 biggest nations, like the United States, Canada, I think like Denmark was one of them, Sweden was one of them, right? And they all played each other over the All-Star break in a tournament style. This is the same thing except for baseball, and it happens in March, like during spring training. Back in 2023, it was absolutely electric. It was Japan and the United States in the final. I mean, it was great. It was peak baseball. So that's definitely something to where maybe if the Raptors are teetering at that time, like to take your mind off things, right?
Yeah. Could be interesting. Yeah.
It could be. It could be. Anyway, let me get on the Raptors. I tell you what, I think if the Raptors do end up extending RJ and not trading him, they're gonna regret not doing it sooner.
What do you mean? You think he's playing himself into a bigger contract?
I think he's playing himself into that IQ range contract instead of maybe that 20 to 30 million.
Well, as I would tell, somebody who asks me for, a $20 million loan, I ain't got the money. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't have the money. We don't have the money, right? So, if nothing else, if RJ Barrett can prove that he is actually worth 27 million, I think he's kind of positive right now. He is a neutral asset right now, which is more than I've been able to say about him for the last 2 years, but I think he's played himself into neutral. And look, I think there's a place you get to with a certain player, right? And this is a kind of open secret in Toronto Raptors land right now. And I think behind the scenes, people in the know would probably confirm this if you got them off the record, that once you let a player's agent know that they have been shopped, like to the level that RJ has been shopped, once you let them know that, look, like we are looking to move you, we don't have an extension for you, but we're going to try to find a situation for you that's going to work for you. I think the bridge, I don't want to say it's completely burned, but it's going to be hard to come back from that, right? So at this point, there was a little bit of comfort maybe for RJ that, hey, I'm home. This is where I'm going to retire. I want to play the next 15 years of my life here. And right now, it's probably more like, let's see what you do right now for us so that we can audition you for your next team. It's a little bit like the situation Brandon Ingram was in New Orleans. Shout out to RJ. He's been super professional about it. But I think the amount that a team trades for you to get you is always going to be proportionate to the value that you are able to extract from them in a contract negotiation. So I think the Raptors, and again, this is projection, have had a very honest conversation with RJ's representatives and said, listen, we don't have the money to give him 30 plus million, but we're going to give him the opportunity. We're going to feature him a lot on offense. We're going to give him a lot of run, a lot of touches, a lot of minutes. And if he can play himself into a situation where he becomes a positive asset, we will trade him to a team that values him enough to extend him 30 plus million dollars. I think RJ's probably looking for a 120 million 4-year type of deal. I don't think the Raptors are willing to offer that, nor do they really have the money to offer that. Obviously, if Emmanuel Quickley was signed to 20 million and Jakob Poeltl had signed for 15 million, now you have some opportunity to sign him. But right now, as it is, his 27 million is putting you over the cap. When you start thinking about locking up long term with RJ Barrett, now obviously the other thing that could happen here is that maybe you have a change of heart. Maybe both sides have a change of heart. That in the process of auditioning him, that he auditions himself for other teams so well that you start looking at him and saying, oh, wait a second, this actually kind of works. And I'm not necessarily like saying that this can't happen. This definitely can happen. This has happened before in NBA history where, a guy comes out and you don't think he's a long-term part of your future. And then next thing you know, he's a permanent part of your future, right? It definitely could happen, right? I'm pretty sure we didn't think Patrick Patterson was going to be a long-term, part of our team. I'm sure there was some trepidation about, I'm trying to think about like players who kind of maybe we didn't know when we got them and then we found out like, holy shit. Can you think of any players in Raptors history that are like that?
Oh God. I mean, ones that we drafted or just free agents?
Just free agents, or I'm pretty sure like when they signed Jose Calderon from Cal as a rookie, he was an undrafted rookie. I'm pretty sure like playing overseas, I'm pretty sure they didn't think he'd be their starting point guard. I'm pretty sure Kyle Lowry, when we traded for Kyle Lowry, I mean he was a stopgap solution. He didn't come in as an immediate day one starter. There was still some, and then he just kind of proved himself. And, they still almost traded him after he had
Yeah.
proven himself. So I think there's a lot of guys like that where it's just like they grow on you because they change. People are always changing. Players are always changing. Situations are changing. The league is changing. And right now, I think RJ Barrett with Brandon Ingram playing defense the way he is, Scotty Barnes playing defense the way he is, you get me a rim protector and you get me a defensive upgrade at point guard, or Emmanuel quickly, just decides to become a better defender. I can see a world in which this works. Honestly,
I think this works out really well if Scotty's at the 1 instead of quickly. And you have a different 5. I think it works really well. I think he makes perfect sense as year 2 if Scotty's at the 1. I hate that we might lose him over potentially 2 other starters because I think he's been our 3rd best starter this year.
Yeah, but what about the pull-up jump shooting that you so desperately need to stretch the floor? Like, RJ does not get extended out to 26 feet. I mean, Daryl was asking like the one big difference between, Emmanuel Quickly and Jamal Shedd, and it's like how they're guarded is very different, right?
Yeah, for sure, but I think where RJ makes up for that is the rim pressure. I don't know anybody else who can give us downward rim pressure in this starting lineup or even on this team, consistently other than RJ. And you lose him, you kind of lose that rim pressure. I mean, obviously he has his
Brandon
faults.
Ingram is providing a lot of rim pressure at this point.
He is, but how sustainable is it? I mean, he hasn't done that in past years. I think he's being asked to do that this year, and that's something different. And he's doing a really good job at it right now.
He and CMB by aggregate are 2 players that you didn't have last year. Sandro is another player you didn't have last year. Jacoby is a player that you hope can grow into that. And of course, if Jacoby doesn't grow into that, you've got bigger issues because you wasted a first round pick. There's guys who can mimic elements of what RJ does. None of them are as complete at what he does than him. He has a vital role. And if he can continue hitting catch and shoot jumpers and continue trying to do the right things on defense and crashing the glass, etc., obviously, like I think I was much happier with his defensive performance tonight than I have been in games past.
Yeah. I mean, I also think it's kind of, Scotty's going to do his thing no matter what. But I find myself time and time again when Ingram has a breakdown or RJ has a breakdown, or even Scotty had the occasional breakdown tonight on defense, and it's like I really can't hold it against them because there's no rim protector back there. Like on that play where Scotty got his head yanked and thought the pass happened, it's like, well, yeah, he's got to react like that because there's no one at the rim to meet that guy. And I find myself forgiving these guys a little bit more right now just because there's not someone back there per se, right? And I mean, I heard you talk about at the beginning of the live, like RJ's taking leaps and bounds. Like compared to last year, other than Scotty, I think he's the most improved player on this team. Right? Compared to where he was.
I don't think Scotty's improved very much at all.
I watching him in person. So I've seen Scotty in person now 4 times, right? Mm-hmm. And I know he had a terrible game the other night against the Cavs. He looked light years better to when he has in the past. When I've seen him, and I've seen him have better games, like in person, he looks so much more dominant. He looks so much bigger. He looks so much stronger. He looks so much faster. His decision-making was great. The only thing I didn't like is that he complained to the refs. Right. And that's just going to come. I mean, you hope it comes maturity-wise. Not saying he's immature, but that part of his game is immature. Right. But I think he's got better. Like, he looked better in person. And I've gone with my same friend for years, for 3 or 4 years now to these games. And he said the same thing. He's like, yes, Scotty didn't have the best game tonight. Evan Mobley got better of him, that night. But at the same time, he looked improved than he has in the past, even though he didn't have the numbers, right? Like, you watch the process. The process was there more than it's been in the past when I've seen it.
Totally. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I mean, Scotty's game is still a little bit clunky, the finishes have been really rough. Like on his drives, like I covered it in my members only live. Like his percentages on finishing on drives have been really bad. I suspect he's dealing with some sort of injury stuff to start this season. The heart and the effort and the right, stuff has been there. The shooting has been, notably progressed. He still gets way too distracted for my liking at times. He just needs to figure out a way, and I'm harping on this in 3 straight lives, so I apologize for the repetitiveness for anybody, but he needs to find a way to have a smaller refractionary period. I believe that's what it's called. It's like a refractionary period, like between an event and your emotional reaction and the calm down.
You know what
If
that's
you're
called?
what is it called?
Be a goldfish. Because
Oh,
goldfish
okay.
forget things in 5 seconds, right? It's called be a goldfish. Like that's what every great athlete has, right? And I think that's what he's missing is the next step of be a goldfish. However, it's this generation's athlete. You know, like I've coached kids for years now. And I mean, not to say Scotty's a kid, right? But that's just how they act when things don't go their way because they've seen it time after time after time, right? That's why you watch the older guys. You know, like I feel like the cutoff is like around age 24 at this point. It's where you're seeing 24 and down act a certain way, and then 25 and up act a certain way when things happen, right? And that's just what it is. And a lot of these younger guys need to hear like be a goldfish, and it's not just Scotty. Like look at John Morant, man. Like look at that stuff. Like that's crazy. You know, like it's just that generation for some reason.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that he just needs to have a shorter period between event, reaction, and cool down. It can't be 2 hours. It can't be it can't be 1 hour. It can't be 10 minutes. It can't be 5 minutes. It can't be 2 minutes because 2 minutes, 1 minute, it literally can't be 5 seconds. Like it has to be less than 5 seconds from when you snap to when like there's so many issues. There was a play on the left corner tonight.
He was arguing with the ref walking down the court, and he's on the other side of the floor, and he's still looking at her.
That was one. There was another play on the left side of the corner where, okay, this is a small thing. I always, if I was coaching kids, I would always tell them never, ever, ever look down at the line. Ever. Like, don't look down at the line. As a shooter, it's like a cardinal sin. Every time you look down at the line, you always miss the shot. It's the weirdest shit, but it's just like your eyes need to be on the rim. Scotty's eyes are everywhere but the rim. And it drives me mental watching him sometimes because I'm like, bro, if you just focused on the rim, you would finish everything. And then there are games where he does. He does focus on the rim. 100% of his energy is just get to the basket. And he's looking at the rim the whole time. And he's not thinking about, what is my handle going to get picked off? You can't look down and up at the same time. You can't be in two places at once, right? It's interesting because I've learned a lot about baseball through this, right? I think through you, I learned that players have to kind of guess where the baseball is coming, right? They have to estimate. Your eyes can't track it. But I was watching this video by Michael McElvey, and he said that a lot of coaches teach hitters to watch the player's forearm as opposed to their hand, because the forearm gives you an indication of skinny wrist or fat wrist in terms of what type of what is the range of possibilities on what type of pitch I'm going to receive here. Is it going to be a slider? Is it going to be a fastball? Is it going to be a curveball? Right? I think that level of focus is sometimes missing with Scotty. Like, just hone in. Stop looking around. Stop, talking to the ref. Stop daydreaming. Stop, looking down at the line and then clearing out. Stop talking shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it has to be 100% focus. And when he's driving to the rim and it's a close game, down 4, down 5, he's going to make that shot because he's focused. There's nothing else. Nothing else matters right now. But in the middle of the second quarter, he's not focused. Everything matters. The crowd matters. Teammates matter. The last play matters. The ref matters. Whether he got missed on the last play matters. The line matters. Too many things matter. If too many things matter, nothing matters.
Yeah. So
that's my only thing. It would be like one adjustment right now. I think he has the game. I think he has the game to be a superstar. I think he has the talent to be a star. I think his processing is honestly next level on this team. He's the one guy who can see 3 plays ahead on this team. He almost never misses the right read. It's so shocking when he does. Like, when he misses an open cutter, it's genuinely like, whoa, is he okay? Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett miss open cutters all the time, and they're good passers.
Yep.
Jamal Shed misses open cutters. Emmanuel quickly lives on missing open cutters. Scotty does not miss those guys. Like he sees the play developing. He'll fake a pass just to manipulate the other pass. Like he's so far ahead mentally. I wish he could just be all there mentally. Maybe and I keep watching Wemby, and I know Wemby's having a disaster class tonight, but so this might be the wrong time to bring this up. But I keep thinking about Wemby, and I think about Victor Wembanyama, and I think about all the Shaolin monk training and all that stuff, and I'm like, that might be what Scotty needs. That might actually be what Scotty needs. Maybe a trip to the Shaolin temple and training with monks and shaving your head and just getting peaceful, in your brain, so that it's not all frantic and all. I think the word is frantic. It's just a lot of frantic energy.
Yeah, and I also think having a guy that has been there, done that would help out a lot too.
What do you mean?
Just someone who is not Garrett Temple, someone who is not Thaddeus Young. No disrespect to those guys. They're vets, they're pros, right? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But what has Thad Young and Garrett Temple done in the league that Scotty Barnes already hasn't? Right? He needs somebody who is washed at the end of their career that can sit to be the 15th man on the bench, not on the coaching staff as a player, and can talk him through situations off the court and in the locker room. Talk him through what they see. Because I guarantee you Garrett Temple tries to do that. He doesn't respect it. Thaddeus Young tried to do it. Like coming out at halftime, that didn't end up too well, right? Because he didn't respect them. And I don't blame him for not. Like, what are you telling me that I already haven't done or that I already won't do? Right? That's where he's coming from. That's why a few lives ago I was a big proponent of Lowry. If it's not Lowry, get someone else. Get someone who's wasting away at the end of a bench. They come in here and really, really, really help him out.
Russell Westbrook?
Not Westbrook. Not Westbrook. No, because Westbrook still thinks that he has it. You need to get somebody that knows they don't have it anymore.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's going to make that huge a difference, but I hear what you're saying.
I think
who are those players right now? Like I mean, I think a Chris Paul would have been a blessing for him. At this point, like Chris Paul is kind of calling his own shots on what teams he's going to play for. So I think that's at least part of the problem. But yeah, I mean,
it happens all over every sport, right? I mean, I hate to talk about baseball, but I mean, some of the best baseball dugouts and some of the most successful teams have that guy.
Do you hate to talk about baseball for real though?
No, not at all. But on a basketball live, yes. But like some of the best dugouts have that 13th man who never plays, who's just a vet, has been there, done that, right? Mike would be perfect.
Mike Conley would be perfect. So I actually proposed a trade for Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley for Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett just the other day. Or no, was it Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel Quickley?
I'd throw in 3 first-round picks with that just to get off those contracts, man. Just to get off those contracts.
You would be fired immediately.
That's crazy. Would be, but that's how bad.
I also thought out a trade for Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant. So
what's that look like? What's that look like? I'm very interested. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm very interested.
Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday for Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett straight up.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd do it.
You're giving them the much younger players. They're giving you the more suitable role players with the shorter contracts, but you're taking bad contracts. You're taking really bad contracts. I don't think most people view Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant as positive contracts. They're in fact, like every time someone says Emmanuel Quickley is the worst contract in the NBA, I'm just like, Jeremy Grant exists.
How much more time does Jeremy Grant have though on his contract?
I think he has 2 years left on his deal, and Drew has 3 years left on his deal.
So I mean, Drew, I don't think Drew's going to be a depreciating asset. I don't think he's going to fall off that fast.
The context here is pretty simple. It is merely a matter of like you want to get suitable pieces that can execute your type of basketball, and they want to, I don't know, like get younger and maybe get slightly better assets on board.
Yeah, if we're going to do that, I'd want to get off of Yak too, though. Just have a full reset around Scotty and Ingram.
Sometimes that's kind of like equivalent to throwing the baby out with the bathwater, wouldn't you say?
I don't. Okay, I think out of all three of those players, RJ, IQ, and Yak, I think Jakob is going to be easily the worst one in the next year. And in 3 years, it's not even going to be a conversation. I think if you're going to get off of those two, it makes all the sense in the world to get off of Jakob too. Because then you're just delaying the inevitable. And I mean, this is the best he's going to be for the rest of his career. Every year goes by, it's like last year, Jakob's going to be better than he was this year. The year before that, he was going to be better than he was last year. Like, he's just going to keep depreciating.
But I mean, the same thing applies for Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant. Why don't you have an issue trading for them?
I don't think Drew Holiday. I really don't. I think if Drew Holiday is your starting point guard, I mean, up until the time he's 38, I think he's still fine. I still think he's going to shoot 35+% from three, and I still think he's going to be an okay point of attack defender, better than what we have right now. And he's a good gap point guard to your next guy. He also brings that veteran leadership. He's been a part of championship teams. Fine with it. That's the perfect guy to bring in here, right? You could see, I mean, I think he could do the same thing for Scottie that Chris Paul did for Devin Booker. Even though Chris Paul never won a championship, right? How much did Devin Booker pop as a leader and as a player after Chris Paul left Phoenix? And then Jeremy Grant, I think Jeremy Grant is maybe 90% of what RJ Barrett is now, right now. So I think if you're just getting off Emmanuel quickly for it, I take the 10% cut. And Jeremy Grant's comfortable in a bench role already, so it's not like he's coming in here thinking that he's going to start. And I mean, he's a 2-year guy, so he plays this year. And if he does really good this year, you could trade him at the deadline next year. And he's just a rental guy. So, I mean, you could at least maybe get a fake first for him or something. I mean, it's not like he's locked up the next 4 years.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, you sold me on it 100%. Like, once you said it, I'm down, and I don't mind RJ. You know, I don't mind RJ. Hell, there's some things you post about RJ where I'm like, I don't know if I see it that way. You know, I don't mind him. He's fine, but to get off it quickly and to get off of RJ's next deal, I would.
Yeah. No, I get it. I think it's selling low, but also taking a little bit of a risk averse view of the whole thing, right?
I mean, okay. Who's the better player right now? Emmanuel Quickly or Drew Holiday? Whose contract would you rather be paying the next 3 years, Emmanuel Quickly or Drew Holiday? I think even on Drew Holiday's off nights,
you understand Drew Holiday's 35 years old, right?
I do. And I think on his off nights, he still has positives about his game. On Emmanuel Quickly's off nights, he gets benched for Jamal Shed.
I mean, okay, let me ask you a question. Would you trade, and this is, I think, quite insane. Would you trade for Ja Morant right now?
No.
Okay, why not?
Maturity issues, can't stay on the court, the best abilities availability took a while to get out, my bad. And above that, like, he doesn't shoot threes, he does nothing for your offense. It's already not being done for it right now.
Fairs. But he is a mega talent upgrade.
I mean, talent's good in theory, right? It's got to actually show up. And for him, he hasn't shown up since 2023. I mean, there's an argument.
It might be even before that.
I mean, there's an argument that RJ Barrett's been better out of that draft class than Ja Morant has. And that's not a good thing.
There's no argument that RJ Barrett has been better than Ja Morant out of that draft class. Zero argument.
I mean, highlights are highlights, but someone plays every night.
Highlights.
No, I'm talking about Ja Morant's highlights. Highlights are highlights, but somebody plays every night, and the other person doesn't play every night.
Right. So here is reality check, and I.
No, I know Ja Morant's a better player, but like, who would you rather have on your team?
Okay. Let me sort this draft class by value of a replacement, shall we? Number 1, Zion. Number 2, Ja Morant. Number 3, Cameron Johnson. Number 4, Tyler Hero. Do you have any disagreements so far in terms of the best players in this draft class? I just want to see how closely VORP actually tracks good players.
Talent-wise, I agree. But when he's missed 127 of his last, 240-some games, like...
I hear you, man. But, 50 games of Joel Embiid is still better than 70 games of Daniel Gafford. You know what I mean?
It depends who your backup is.
Here's the thing. I understand what John Morant has become, but let's not forget he was top 7 in MVP voting. He's been a number 1 option on a really good playoff team. Like, come on, man.
He definitely has, but guys fall off. Like, what is he?
Of course, he has fallen off, but I think like if we're talking about the best players from that draft class, like let's talk about. Okay, again, I just want to go through this list. Number 1, Zion. Number 2, Ja. Number 3, Cam Johnson. Number 4, Tyler Hero. Again, 3 of those players have been all-stars. Number 5, Daniel Gafford. Number 6, Darius Garland. Garland, largely an issue of he had a really rough rookie season, and he's come on very strong over the last couple of years. Number 7, an analytics darling who maybe a lot of people don't respect, Brandon Clark. Number 8, Nick Claxton. Number 9, Matisse Thybulle, who's just a lot older than everybody to start, but whatever. Number 10, Goga Batadze. Number 11, Terrence Mann. Number 12, Jackson fucking Hayes. Number 13, Ty Jerome. Number 14, PJ Washington. Number 15, Keldon Johnson. Number 16, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Number 17, Kobe White, who has actually turned around his career like over the last couple of years. Let's just be real. Like Kobe was off to bust like real quick. He was going to bust. And then he missed an entire year of basketball. He's missed all year this year, and the Bulls are off to like a 5-0, 5-1 now start without him. Number 18, Kevin Porter. Number 19, Bol in 202 minutes, 202 games in just 2,700 minutes played. And then number 20, RJ Barrett. Beyond RJ is Chume Okiki, Jordan Poole, Cody Martin, Grant Williams, Rui Hachimura,
Taylor Horton
Tucker, who's no longer even in the NBA anymore. A lot of these other guys not even in the NBA.
Let's be real quick, though. The 12 guys, well, I'm sorry, not 12, 11 guys that are in front of him, he is better than, easily. Once we get to Darius Garland and up, there's a conversation to be had.
Okay. So you think he is definitively better than Kobe White? Definitively?
Yes. I think as an all-around basketball player, I think RJ Barrett is better than Kobe White.
Okay. You think he's definitively better than Nickeil Alexander-Walker? You think he's definitively better than Ty Jerome? You think he's definitively better than Terrence Mann?
I would say so. I haven't seen those guys thrust into the same role in his career that RJ has been thrust into.
Okay. Do you think the average team views RJ as a more valuable asset than Nick Claxton?
Depends what you're looking for. That's a weird one because they do play out of position. Claxton provides something completely different than RJ does. So, like, you might ask one team and they say RJ. You might ask another and they say Claxton.
Okay. What about Daniel Gafford? Has he?
That one's the coin flip for me. But I would say
Daniel Gafford's a backup making $14 million a year. So that's my point. If it's a coin flip between us, yeah, of course it's a different position, and it's more of a position of need for us, but also a very valuable archetype. Like the league is not deprived of somewhat weak defenders who are somewhat okay shooters who like to score a lot.
Is there a way to make this from 2023 to now to see what it looks like by chance? Or is this just from 2019 on? Because let's be honest, RJ had one good year in New York.
Yeah, you can definitely. Okay, so
and he's definitely got better. He's got so much better under Darko in Toronto. Like, he is night and day from what he was in New York to Toronto.
I agree with you. So why don't we do this? You tell me 6 players we want to compare, and we'll sort out the years so that they can just be the last 3 years. So who are the 4 other players that you want to introduce into this? So one is Ja. One, I assume, is Darius Garland.
Yeah, Ja, Darius Garland. I mean, I think Zion's better than him, but let's see Zion. Who else was on that list? Cam Johnson. Definitely want to see what Cam looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's do
Gafford.
Yeah, let's do Gafford just to see.
Okay, so give me 1 second. I gotta change all of their results to just the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's this season included?
Yes.
Okay, so year 5 to year 7. We actually should have looked at Kobe White as well, in fairness.
Yeah, true that.
So let me just remove Zion because there's just no conversation there at all.
True.
And let's just put Kobe White in there.
I mean, Zion's the better player anyway, so there's no argument there.
Yeah, he's like there's conversations about Zion versus like Zion was a better player than Brandon Ingram in theory.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So we filter out for just 5 to 6, and Darius Garland, Kobe White haven't played this year, so their stats for this year, 6 games, whatever, will be missing. Okay, so if we are sorting for box plus minus, RJ Barrett is the second worst behind Kobe White. If we are sorting for points per game, he is
second best
behind Ja Morant. Darius Garland is, but also like he takes a lot of shots. If we look at effective field goal percentage, where are we at? So 71% obviously for the rim finishing big, 57% for the efficient two-way movement shooter, 54% for Kobe White, 54% for Darius Garland, 53.8%. And so it's Ja Morant who has really just been so ass the last 3 years.
And that's my argument right there. Is like if we're talking pre-2023 Ja Morant, hell yes. Right,
So,
we're
yeah,
talking now.
But what's interesting is when I was looking at Crafted and I was looking at the analytics models on there, the closest player to Ja Morant right now, according to Crafted, would you take a guess who it is?
The closest in the draft class or overall?
No, the closest player in the league offensively to Ja Morant.
Is it another guard?
It is another wing.
God, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you.
It's RJ Barrett.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
So we already see what Ja Morant would look like on this team in a lesser form of RJ Barrett. Which I mean, is it worth
completely? Yeah, like the again, it kind of filters through like some of the noise of like the style, the reputation, the MVP shit, all that stuff, right? And it just goes straight down to how do you function on the court? What is your dominant play type? What do you do on the court? Look at it. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. Similar players offensively. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Cole Anthony, Cam Thomas, Franz Wagner, Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, Colin Sexton, Josh Giddey. That's Ja Morant, by the way. Okay. Defensively, DeMar DeRozan is never somebody you want to see in your defensive comps. And then overall, Cam Thomas, that's who he is right now.
Yeah,
right.
I would agree. I would agree with that 100%. There's not a disagreement from me with that. And that's why I think at this point in their careers, I would take RJ. You know, obviously Ja's more talented. You put Ja on this team, you're probably a better team. If he plays if he plays every day, but if he doesn't play every day like he hasn't been, then I mean, availability is the best ability. Right?
Do you remember the offseason live where I suggested that we should trade RJ Barrett for Jonathan Kuminga?
I do not, but I would have done it at the time. I've always been a big fan of the cum bucket.
Unfortunate name, but
great name.
Similar players to RJ Barrett offensively: Jonathan Kuminga, Franz Wagner, Ja Morant. Defensively, Tyrese Maxey, Ayo Dosunmu, Steph Castle, Taurean Prince. Not terrible, not terrible defensive comps. And overall, Bradley Beal, Jordan Clarkson, Keldon Johnson, Julius Randle. Again, these are all guys who got $30 million.
That Bradley
overall,
Beal not a bad one.
I think like the only player up here who didn't get $30 million is Cam Thomas. Like, and I myself have driven a lot of comparisons to RJ Barrett and Paolo Banchero, RJ Barrett and Cade Cunningham. Like there are similarities. I understand that some people don't want to see them or don't care to see them, but they are there. I remember saying last year in one of my more favorable RJ takes was that if you replaced RJ Barrett if you replace Paolo Banchero with RJ Barrett, I don't think the Magic get significantly worse. I think they're worse, but not significantly. And I think that was more of a disparaging comment towards how I don't think Paolo is narrowly impacting the kind of winning that he is. Also, I think if you look at it, RJ is probably really redundant with Franz already on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like overall, like this is a really talented position in the league, and there's only so many guys who are going to get paid.
Yeah, and that's what it's coming down to, and that's why, in my opinion, like it just absolutely sucks if RJ is the guy you got to lose out of the starting lineup because he's worth so much more than what two guys are already getting paid in that lineup. Obviously, you have your upper echelon guys in Ingram and Barnes, but if they are in S tier, Barrett's in B tier. I mean, right now, Quickly and Jakob are C and D tier. And it's like, how can I justify getting rid of the B tier guy for the C and D tier guys, especially if we're trying to build a winning team here, right? Like you build up, and it's impossible to build up when you're getting rid of your third best starter right now.
If long-term CMB is a starter, where does RJ go? Again, you just drafted this guy 9th overall, right?
What is your what is your lineup at that point? I mean, I don't disagree with it, but
CMB
like, what does the lineup look like?
CMB is the 4, BI is the 3, Scotty is the 2. So somebody is the 1, somebody is the 5, but ultimately, like, where does RJ go? Does he become your point guard?
I you make Scotty the 1 and RJ the 2, man. I mean, that's how I feel about it. That's really how I feel about it.
And neither one of them can hit a pull-up jump shot to save their life. Like, I mean,
that's
not true. Scotty's
got potential. Yeah.
He's got potential, but he's not stretching the defense out. Like,
but if CMB can be a 34% 3-point shooter, I think you're almost okay with what you have on your bench.
But he's not being guarded. It doesn't matter if he's shooting them. I'm obviously choosing between two evils. I would much rather he shoot them and make them than he not shoot them and be shy about it, like Ben Simmons style. But still, at some point, it matters that teams don't guard him or Scotty out there. Like, you realize these threes are open.
Some of Scotty's
RJ's threes are pretty open too.
Some of Scotty's aren't.
I mean, they're late contests. They're very late contests. He's not being guarded. Like, there's two guys consistently who are guarded in the starting lineup defensively from 3. You're talking about removing one of them in Immanuel Quickley. And I understand Immanuel Quickley has his warts and he hasn't been great and all that stuff. But the reality is, if you're going to replace him, you can't replace him with CMB.
I mean, let's look at the Houston Rockets right now and what that starting lineup has. They have a non-shooting 1. Right? They're 4 and 5, pretty much non-shooters. Not Sengun, I'm sorry, but Jabari Smith's hit or miss on certain nights. He's either really hot or he's really off. Okay, so some nights he's a non-shooter. And they're successful with Kevin Durant and Alfred. Right? I mean, I think Scotty Barnes is a better player than Alfred. I think he has more potential. I think in 2 years, it's not even going to be a conversation, right? So you go from there. And, I mean, Kevin Durant's going to be out of the league in 2 years. Ingram's baby, like Walmart KD, and that's no disrespect to Ingram. That's how good KD is, right? And they're winning games. They look fine, right? They also have a defensive identity, what helps. But, like, I don't think it's the end-all, be-all to not have a dead-eye, shooter in that lineup, especially if Quickley's not hitting his threes right now. Like, what are you missing? Yeah, the idea of him is great. It's amazing. But what's the reality of what he's doing right now? I mean, he could easily in a month have. The reality is
38% 3-point shooting on pull-up jump shots last year. The reality is,
and that's fine.
The reality is also, in fairness, the reality is also that he is one of your most frequent drivers right now. Also, he is doing a lot of the right things. Like, I know he's frustrating as hell to watch because his low lights are so low and so stupid. But also, like, the reality is the game is played out over 33, 34 minutes of his time on the court. And I would say 85% of the time he's either doing nothing or not enough of the right thing, but he's not actively destroying your defense. Like, he has lowlights. Again, he has lowlights, but there are highlights too, right? We spent a lot of time dissecting all the things that Immanuel Quickley doesn't do. But I think this is a little bit like a cautionary tale of Davion Mitchell, Dennis Schroeder, Fred VanVleet. Right. Every single time we have a point guard here, I criticize the shit out of what they don't do. And then they watch them go somewhere else. And then we replace them with somebody who's worse. And then you think to yourself, man, it'd be nice to have Immanuel Quickley who could actually be a threat to pull from 35 feet and actually run a pick and roll where the defense is actually hedging up like 35 feet.
And I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm not saying get rid of him, but who is he that he can't go to the bench? The same way RJ. Like, who is RJ that he can't go to the bench? Right? There's 2 unbenchable players on this team, in my opinion. It's Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. Everyone else, who are you?
I agree with that.
Who are you, right? And like I said, I mean, I'm shitting on Quickley now. He could have a December where he shoots 45% from 3, and none of this matters, stats wise, right? But as of right now, what is he doing for you better than what RJ Barrett is? Not much, right? So why are we talking about sacrificing RJ right now when it's obvious someone else needs to take a step back? Right. That's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like your third best starter is the one being criticized over the guy who got the big contract and isn't producing.
Fair.
I mean,
Very
that's
fair.
where I'm at. And like I said, I'm not sitting here saying RJ's a superstar, but could he be anywhere from the 75th to 90th best player in the league? Maybe at his peak.
The 90th best player in the league shouldn't be paid $32 million.
And I agree with that. But in the market, we've routinely overpaid guys because we've had to. One, because of politics, and two, because there's a lot of guys that maybe just don't want to live here. RJ's different. Now, RJ's different there. This is his home, right? This is his home. He might be willing to stay for a little bit cheaper than if he was Quickly or if he was Brandon Ingram, right?
He's a very prideful guy. He's not going to give you a pay cut when you're overpaying everybody
he's not going to
else.
give you a pay cut, but he might call it 30 instead of 32 if that's what you're offering him. I'm not saying he's worth it, but he might, right? I don't know. I just feel like we're sacrificing we're holding the wrong guy to the fire here at the end of the day. When I think he's worked his ass off to get better. He's shown that he's getting a little better. Does he have his faults? Hell yeah. He has a lot of faults as a player. But who doesn't at this point? One.
Mm-hmm.
And two, he's not coming in here thinking he's the man. You know, he's not going to the locker room talking about he's the leader. Like, did you watch his post-game interview? Complimented
Today?
his team. Yeah, that's the first thing he did was he complimented his team. First thing he did. Every interview he gives, he compliments his team. They ask him questions about himself. I think the interviewer asked him, what was your favorite that you gave the crowd, the dunk or the putback or the poster or whatever? And he was like, oh, man, we just love our fans. Our fans do great stuff for us. It was like he could have made that about himself, and he didn't. He's a selfless guy, right? I think he's a score-first mentality. I think when he's on the court, he's very much like, I'm going to cut your head, take it off type of guy, which, hey, you know, is what it is. I'd rather have a guy have that dog mentality. But if he's your fourth best player in your starting lineup, great. If he's your fifth or sixth best player on a championship team, great, right? So why are we going to redact a guy like that when there's other dudes around him right now that need to pick their shit up? And it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he could have a terrible December, and we're having a conversation about him. But like right now, I just feel like it's very unfair to talk about the guy who's at least trying to do the right things and has worked on his game coming into this year. I mean, it's obvious he was in the gym this summer. It's obvious he was working hard. Right?
I made an entire live about it this offseason that I said RJ's been putting in the work, that he's going to come out of this. You know, I'm very impressed with the work that he's been putting in. He's obviously working with Drew Hanlon, one of the best trainers in the NBA. He has leveled up. Like, he's leveled up. His paint finishing is better. His footwork is better. His strength is better. His technique is better. His driving angles are better. I think his handle is a little bit tighter. His body is obviously like the best it's been. The catch and shoot shit is going in. Like, he's proving to be a vital guy who can provide you with 22, 23 points per, a worth of scoring. I think it's such a weird thing that's happened with RJ, right? Because, look, if I flash back to 2018 and I tell you RJ Barrett, define it, superstar. It's 100% superstar. Like, this is going to be the best player in Canadian history. This guy is a franchise player, top number one pick in next year's draft. And it didn't work out that way. And I think sometimes, like, market size, like New York, LA, when something bad happens with your performance in those markets, your career gets derailed completely.
100%. I think the same thing happened with Brandon Ingram in LA.
BI in LA, RJ in New York. I'll give you another example. Patrick Ewing in New York, a little bit. I can give you another example, which is Russell Westbrook in LA, Dwight Howard in LA. When you fail to do what these mega markets want you to do, what happens to your career from there on out is you just fall apart. Like, your contract value, reputation, everything is tarnished. You start getting like character assassinated. People start talking about you being selfish and all this stuff. I don't really think RJ is selfish. I don't think I've ever in a million years questioned whether he cared about the game or whether he cared about his teammates or whether he cared about his craft. It's obvious to me, watching him for as long as I have, this is a true professional. He is a high motor guy. He's always locked in, right?
And just to interject, like, the only time he's ever missed time was when his brother passed away. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He's not injury prone. He's not a guy taking a random night off because he feels ill or he has quad tightness or whatever, right? or whatever they want to call it on the injury
shout outs
report.
to quad tightness. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like he's not a guy doing that type of stuff. He's a guy that's playing the game. You know, you
Right.
can always count on him in the lineup. You always count on him being on the court. Whether he's doing the right stuff or not, whether he's having a good game or not, he's at least out there. Right. And I think as fans, and especially analytically, that's
Mhm.
stuff that doesn't show up a lot, you know, availability. It just doesn't. However, you know, there's a lot of dudes out there that have really good numbers, really good analytics, but they only play 55, 60 games a year. Right. And it's
Right.
like those 22 to 27 games you didn't play, how'd your team fare in those games? Not so well. So it's like, would you rather have a guy who's a step down that plays 75 games a year, or a guy who, you know, would you rather have a B tier guy or a C tier guy who plays 75 games a year, or an A tier guy or high B tier guy that plays 50, 55 games a year, right? Like, I think that's what the conversation is at this point.
Yeah.
And
Fair.
that's my opinion on it. And, you know, I could be wrong, right? Time will tell. It's just, I don't know. I get on social media, and it's not you. I'm not talking about you, but I see people just bash him, and it's like, this dude's been available. He's been improving. He works his butt off. He obviously wants to be here. Like, I'm not trying to say Toronto has a victim mindset, but there's been a lot of superstars. There are a lot of players that don't want to be here, right? I mean, let us not forget Kawhi left after 1 year. If Toronto was so, you know, if he really felt at home here, he might have stayed, and he went back home, right? Like, yeah, he gave you an NBA championship, but that guy left too. You know, not saying RJ's Kawhi, but like guys just routinely don't want to stay here. And this is a guy who potentially at his peak could be a top 80-ish player in the league. Why not? You know,
I don't think you necessarily go out of your way to cater your roster towards the top 80.
100% not. No, and I'm not saying that at all. He's a piece that fits in the puzzle. He is not the puzzle.
Right.
He's
Exactly.
not the puzzle. If he's your fourth best player in your starting lineup or the sixth best player on your championship team, you're happy.
Right.
You're happy,
Exactly.
right? And that's what he is. But he's also not some scrub. Right. He's also not some guy that's a locker room cancer. He's not causing issues. He has his faults, yes, but he's obviously shown that he's willing to work and willing to be better. He's worked off of Ingram so well this year. So
He
well.
has. Well, I think it's just the thing. Like there's few things that really get you buried in the NBA in terms of reputation. I mentioned the big market stuff. It's also early hype, right? Because once we oversaturate the market with what you were supposed to be or what you are or what we think you're going to be, everything is measured against what you didn't become, right? I actually have a joke about my it's totally a dad joke. I said someone asked me like, "What are you going to be for Halloween?" And I said, "I'm going to go as a gifted child, a former gifted child." And they say, "Why?" And I'm like, you know, people are just going to ask me what I'm supposed to be, and I just respond, "I was supposed to be a lot of things." Get it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point is, with RJ, the hype was so real when he was 16, 17, 18 years old. And now we get to the NBA and you get to New York, and that fan base has a top 3 pick that was once the number 1 recruit, and they're expecting a superstar. Knicks, we have a superstar. Ooh, we have a superstar. And time again, in very major moments, he did not play like a superstar. Right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of issues.
It's not who he is,
And
right? It's not who he is.
well, I mean, hey, like, did he have the right team around him? Was Randall, you know, and Mitchell necessarily and
Yeah, but like
Hartenstein the right?
let's call a spade though. Like, he doesn't do superstar stuff. He does supporting cast stuff, right? But if he's doing what he's doing now, which is really solid supporting cast stuff, you know, like, I don't want to come off as an RJ stan. Like I said, I trade him for Jeremy Grant tomorrow if we can get him. Right? I'm not an RJ stan at all. But at the same time, like, you got to recognize what the guy's doing. And he's not a superstar, right? He was drafted with superstar expectations, and he's not.
Okay.
You know
What is the maximum number of All-Star games you could see RJ Barrett making in his career if
One.
we say hold on. So let's
That's
say,
all.
for instance, we send him to Miami for
One.
Tyler Hero. Okay, let's just say he goes to Miami for Tyler Hero. We obviously give up draft compensation to bridge the gap there. So he's in Miami with fellow Canadian Andrew Wiggins. I was going to call him Andrew Barrett. He's there with Norman Powell, there with Davion Mitchell, kind of like the Canada Raptors connection, Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic. And they tell him, RJ, you got the offense. We want you to take over. We want you to drive offense as much as you can. We want you to be Montverde. Welcome back to Florida. We want you to be Montverde, RJ. What is the number? Let's just say they commit to this for the rest of his career and they build a team around him. What's the number of All-Star games you'd be willing to give him?
One. Yeah, one.
Okay.
At max, right? I think kind of with Tyler Hero on the roster still, that's kind of the same thing they're trying to do with Norman Powell right now. Right? He's kind of give him more of a leash, give him more leeway.
What's the gap between him and Hero?
RJ and Hero?
Like, I have my own answer to this, but I'm curious.
Yeah. Just the shot creation outside of the paint, right? The mid-range, the three-point shots. Hero's obviously the much better player. Much better player, right? And I mean, Hero's barely an all-star. I mean, Hero's like an injury replacement type of guy, right? I think on RJ's best year, for him to make an all-star game, he'd have to average 26 or 27 in Miami on efficient shooting. Do I think it could happen once? Yes. Do I think Lightning's going to strike twice? No. But, if Tyler Hero was on the Raptors right now, I mean, he's easily your third best player. It's a hell of a championship core to have, right?
If Tyler Hero is on the Raptors, he's your third best player?
Behind Ingram and Scotty? Yeah.
I think a lot of people last year would have told you Hero was better than Ingram.
I don't think he is. I don't
think he is either, but I think a lot of people would say that he is, yes.
I think Ingram's defense puts him over Hero. I think Ingram is a very good sneaky defender. I think he's a good I think Ingram's he's better in team. Yeah, he's better in team defense. He's a lot better in team defense than Hero is. Now, I mean, like one-on-one is one-on-one. Like sometimes you're just gonna get scored on, and it is what it is, right? It's gonna happen. Like it's the NBA. Like, let's be real here. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's easily Brandon Ingram is better than Tyler Hero. But it's like the gap to Ingram the Hero is closer than the gap to Ingram the Scotty, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Totally. Yeah. Anyways, man, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to see us beat a real team. That'd be kind of fun.
Only play who's in front of you.
I get you, and you're a product of what your schedule is, right? It's not who you play, it's when you play them. Like I understand that, but I want to see us beat someone. I think really beating Giannis will kind of make a statement. I hope we don't double him like last time. It's going to be nice that we're going to have CMB, so someone a little bit more physical down low, someone else to put a body on him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to actually beating somebody. So
yeah, I hope we do too. All right, man.
Sure.
Have a good night.
Great night. See you, man.
Yeah. All right, good conversation as always. Let's listen to what. Okay, let's get to Colin Murray.
If you don't understand the rules of
beyond the ad me for not having ad blocker. Dope. And
this winter.
Sorry guys. Let me not get copyright for this, but 2 ads. Lord help me. Thank you, YouTube. So we had Colin Murray Boyles. And let's just do the final one, which is RJ Barrett. Not to leave Cap. Cap. Forgot about quickly, bro.
Work really worked out because you had more time to do it because you didn't have to go play.
Well, hold on. Go back to it. I say this thing that people, when they're lying, they always say, to be honest.
So did say that your summer work really
of everybody sharing the ball, being in the flow, and we're kind of all shooting the ball well, to be honest.
See what I mean? People always do it. It's a subconscious tick. When people know that they're lying, they always say, to be honest, to double assure you that they're not lying. He knows Emmanuel Quickley is shooting bricks, okay? I don't think that's necessary. No offense. I don't think that's necessary. Because, like, Like, you could just say it means the world to me without saying more than anybody. Like, that mentality of, like, I don't want to psychoanalyze it too much. It's not necessary. It's just not necessary. Like, we all know, everyone knows you want to be here. You love being here. You're from here. We get it. But there's really no need to say more than anybody. How do you know how much CMB wants to be here or doesn't want to be here? How do you know how much Scotty wants to be here or BI wants to be here? I mean, BI kind of forced his way here. You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes that kind of like it's a very unnecessary comment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, even if it's true, it doesn't need to be said. Maybe it's the truth, Rob. Who cares? What does it accomplish by saying it? Like, if I tell you I know a lot about basketball more than anybody here, like, I've unnecessarily antagonized like 400 people for no fucking reason whatsoever. Like, 350 of you will probably agree that I probably know more about basketball than you, but 50 of you are gonna be like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? It's really not necessary. It's nitpicking to death. Like, don't take me seriously right now. It's just these kind of comments, they kind of strike me as odd.
Carter,
Factual. He and Scotty have had like relatively positive synergy on the court. It is, however, worth noting that those two with the starters have been very, 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 very bad. And is in fact, when you replace one of them with a Mamu or a Jacoby or a Battle, that it tends to work a hell of a lot better. But Scotty plus RJ plus 3 bench guys is actually a pretty decent lineup, provided the right bench guys, right? Provided one of those bench guys is Jacoby or Jameson Battle or Sandro Mamukelashvili. It's just like there's not enough ball on the court for the starters. So it's just like it's a clunky thing. But it is interesting to know. It's really interesting to know that they told him that he may not start permanently. So, that's probably a little bit of a fire under his ass as well.
I think one.
Honestly, if he had figured this out in New York, he would still be in New York. There's no chance. When Jalen Brunson got there, he really struggled to adapt to being a third option, standing in the corner, working on that part of his game. It's almost like his entire mindset was, wait a second, you're putting me in the corner. Like, I think we got some New York fans in the chat who could definitely affirm this, but like he really struggled once Jalen Brunson got there. And as a third option, obviously you need a little bit more defense. So they prefer to go with OG Anunoby. It's hard to make an argument right now that OG Anunoby is necessarily having a significantly better season than RJ Barrett. And if Emmanuel Quickley was just playing neutral basketball, you could really stop thinking about that trade as the trade that cursed us and actually be like, wow, that trade was a friggin' blessing. So yeah, I think again, like I think some positives, from RJ, the buy-in has been great. He's trying to do the right things defensively. The motor has been great. The discipline has been bad. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but the offensive process has been a lot better. He cuts into open space. He does a lot of the stuff that Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, these guys do, but he also has like the creation ability off the drive that those guys don't have. So it's not superstar shit that he's doing, but he is somebody. Like, there was a string of possessions, I want to say in the third quarter or the second quarter, where Brandon Ingram goes to the bench right after BI was just cooking, right? And Scotty and RJ are on the court, and it's just like they cannot get anything solid. Like, nothing is happening for this team. They are just ramming into their defender, passing the ball, ramming into the defender, passing the ball, drive, kick, shot clock violation type of. It was terrible offense. It reminded me exactly of last season. He's not lying. Brandon Ingram has unlocked the entire floor for everybody. There is a reason why everybody is so much more efficient with Brandon Ingram, because again, the presence of gravity. Maybe we should talk about gravity at some point, maybe in a live tomorrow or whatever, but the gravity of a mega scorer who cannot be stopped one-on-one, like that idea of like, there's no one guy who can stop this guy. Like, you can't really stop an RJ Barrett head of steam drive with one guy. You almost always have to throw a second guy. You can't really stop a Scotty post up one-on-one when he has a wing or a guard with one guy. You almost always have to bring a second guy into that. You can't really stop Brandon Ingram anywhere on the court with one guy. You almost always have to bring a second defender into the play. And the minute that second defender comes into the play, now the whole offense can start, because Ingram is smart enough to drag that second defender out of the way. Like he's good enough with the handle. He's good enough to manipulate the defense where he can cross Hezzy, and then maybe he doesn't do that thing where, you know, his brain starts moving like a hamster wheel and he starts having like dial up internet brain, you know, where like Emmanuel quickly does. Like he will soft play the defense, wait for the gap to present itself. Like that beautiful one hand alley oop to CMB, the numerous passes that he's thrown to RJ Barrett in transition, found Ochai, Grady, guys like this in the corners. Like if Jacoby and Grady and Ochai could just and quickly could just hit their fucking shots, like Ingram and Barnes would be averaging like 8 assists per game. You know what I mean? So RJ Barrett is a perfect like third option to those guys in a lot of ways. And when I say third option, I don't mean he'll score less than those guys. On some nights, like tonight, he'll score more than those guys. Some nights he might have 40, 45. And if he can just consistently buy into this somewhat limited role that they've given him, but this very invaluable role, which is cut to space and find space to attack when you don't have the basketball, then it's essentially and be somewhat neutral defensively, then he can stay in Toronto for as long as he wants. But it's when he starts dancing with the basketball, holding on to possessions, forcing the offense at the rim, that kind of stuff really drags down the good things that he does. If I could isolate the 10 best offensive plays of RJ Barrett every single game, he is an all-star. If I take the 10 worst plays of RJ Barrett offensively every single game, and I don't mean necessarily scoring plays or shot attempt plays, but just what he did offensively on that possession, he's a G League player with very low IQ. There's a lot of fluctuation with RJ Barrett. This year, there has been a lot less fluctuation, so give credit where credit is due. He is actually processing the game at a very high level, and he is actually like very calmly buying into this third option role. So I think he's speaking from experience from back in New York, where, you know, he was too immature to buy into that role in New York. But hey, man, like if that gets you traded to Toronto and we get a former third overall pick, former number 1 overall, you know, recruit, former McDonald's All-American, former Gatorade National Player of the Year, hey, man, like shit. Cass saying, are you going to be on the panel tomorrow? So going forward, and this is something that will probably be regular, I will be on the panel on Tuesday and Thursday every single week, unless otherwise stated. That's what I've been told. I'm going to be on 2 times a week. I think they're going to try to pull, you know, Swiper on 2 to 3 times a week. Jordan is probably going to be on 2-3 times a week. So that's pretty much. Damien will probably be on 1 to 2 times a week. Real Talk will be on 2 times a week. And then you'll get your regulars, which is Ox, Ron, Mars, and Show. So that's pretty much what it's going to be going forward. We'll see. Obviously, I would love to be on the panel 5 times a week, 4 times a week. I was on 4 times a week during the summer when, you know, Ron and Jordan and Swiper and et cetera were traveling. But at this point, like I think it'll be like a 2 time a week type of commitment. So yeah. Okay.
I think last time
Cool.
you guys are at home, but improving your defense.
Okay. Cool. Sorry, I've been watching too many Brooklyn Nine-Nine reruns doing the cool of Jake Peralta. But anyways, okay, cool. Good. RJ is so good at this, like the media stuff. He's so good at it. He's always got the right answer. He might be better at this than Fred VanVleet, honestly. He's good. He's very good. And, you know, if he can materialize into an all-star level type of player, like if he can materialize into a Michael Porter Jr. level player, when I say level, I don't mean player like Michael Porter Jr., but on that level of like, that's the best third option in the NBA, that type of ascent that he could make, there are teams that could use this guy. Like, again, the slight defensive liability who does a lot of scoring stuff is still going to be a difficult sell when you compare it to the solid defender who can do movement 3 shit. Like, it's always an archetype shift of like, what do you prefer? What do you need? Right? Most teams have a top scorer. Most teams have one. Like, you look around the league, every team's got a go-to guy. Every team's got a guy who plays off the go-to guy. RJ is kind of right now showing you that he can play off a go-to guy, which is actually pretty cool, right? And that's a valuable thing. And if you can be somewhat neutral defensively, like let's not mince, you know, Jalen Green got paid $30 million. a year. And I don't really think that Jalen Green's better than RJ Barrett. I mean, you can make an argument that he has more talent. He's a little bit younger, et cetera, et cetera. There's more quote unquote upside. There's more athleticism. But I can't really see a valid argument to make that he's just a better player right now. Right. So you make the case that like playing off of Ingram is a nice little demo. Playing off of Scotty, playing off of Ingram in the past, 2 years has been a little bit of a demo. And, you think about it and you're like, okay, well, if I could see that, could I see him playing off of, pick a guy, really? Could I see him playing off of Luka, right? And Austin Reeves, if they move off of LeBron? Could I see him playing off of Wemby, right? Because they don't really, if they decide to move off of Fox, could I see him filling that role to some extent, right? Do they have enough defense? Especially teams with a lot of rim protection. Could I see him playing off of D-Book? Could I see him playing off of, think around the league, could I see him playing off of Domas if, the Sacramento Kings decide to go markedly another way? If the Utah Jazz decide to pull the plug on their tank, could they potentially, see a two-man matchup between him and Lauri Markkanen? Like, there's a lot of ways that this could work. I think if you're the Toronto Raptors, you have to gauge league value for the players you sign. It's one thing to sign a player because you think that they're good and they're playing well for you, but you do have to gauge league value because you never know at some point you're going to have to move off the contract. Once again, the Emmanuel Quickley lesson that you learn, the DeMar Carroll lesson that you learn, the Chris Boucher, the Gary Trent Jr., the Bruce Brown lessons that you learn. When the entire market thinks that your player is both redundant and not fitting a major role, like, this is something that people have to think about when you're drafting guys, right? Like, movement shooters who can defend are very, very valuable. Secondary creators who can defend are very valuable. Rim protectors who can shoot are very valuable. Like, these are archetypes that people like to put around stars. Like, as we go more into analytics and archetypes and data models on what it takes to win basketball games, I think you have to factor in that how good you are at the game of basketball individually doesn't mean a hell of a lot, which is where I think the divide is always with RJ Barrett, right? You watch RJ Barrett play, you watch Brandon Pajemski play, you're like, RJ Barrett's a better player than Brandon Pajemski. RJ Barrett is a better player than Keon Ellis. RJ Barrett is a better player than Jalen Suggs. RJ Barrett is a better player than, X guy, Y guy. And, if I go through the list of guys that ESPN put over him, Ivica Zubac, Jonas Valanciunas, Jakob Poeltl, like, this is a weird way to look at things, but you could say RJ's better than all those guys from a talent perspective. He is. But what is the value of an Ivica Zubac? What is the value of an Isaiah Hartenstein when it comes to the context of what does Shea need? What does J-Dub need? Right? What is the value of J-Dub? Right? Like, again, this kind of, it has to be thought about. Is the portability and scalability of your skill set to different roles is a valuable thing. OG Anunoby is worth $40 million to the Knicks precisely because he can guard 3s, 4s, 2s, 5s in a pinch. He can space the court and be a third option, but he can also do some, occasional second option things in a limited capacity. Is he anywhere near the offensive talent or dynamic playmaker that RJ Barrett is? No. Can he drive like RJ? No. Can he create like RJ? No. But the value of his defense to insulate a star player, the question is not whether OG Anunoby is a better player than RJ Barrett, is whether or not Devin Booker needs OG more or RJ more. And that's, I think, the equation that every young hooper who was once promised stardom in the NBA has to solve for themselves, because at some point you have to reimagine the path, right? I mean, some of us dreamt of being star players. We bought into the idea that we were going to be the ones taking the final shot. We got up a higher level. We got up another higher level. We got out of grade school where we were the best player. We got to a high school that was stacked. Suddenly we're the sixth man. We got to give team energy, or maybe we're the third option, or maybe we're the corner spacer. This idea of having to buy into your role at the offensive level, RJ is still going to get a lot of buckets. That's just the nature of RJ Barrett. He's just going to score a lot, and that's what he always does. He's always going to be a 15 to 20 point per game scorer. The question is, does your skill set adapt to a lesser role if I already have better players than you? Hypothetically, could he adapt to being on the Lakers right now? How? I already have Luka, already have LeBron, already have AR-15. Are you willing to do the defensive stuff that those other guys like Marcus Smart are willing to do? We got Matt calling in. Matt, what's up?
Hey man, how's it going?
You got to turn off your YouTube, man.
Okay, 1 second.
I think Matt will be back at some point. Anyways, Herb Jones and Kevon Looney, good guys to trade for. I like that is a very decent trade. I think Herb just signed a contract extension. I'm actually curious myself to see what that contract extension looks like. They could really use RJ Barrett, actually. Herb Jones. Let's look. Herb Jones contract extension. Let's see. He signed a 3-year, $67 million extension. He is 29 years old, which is a shocking number when you think about it. But yeah, that extension goes from 12 million to 20 million, 22, and then at the age of 31, he has a player option for 34 million. Oof. Not bad. Kevon Looney is on a 2-year deal. 2 years, $8 million a year. I think it's a slight overpay. But yeah. Armin Bassan saying, guess who leads the Nets in assists per game? That is hilarious because they have nothing but point guards, and yet their scoring forward leads them in assists. That's funny. That is funny. Yeah. I mean, would I consider a trade like that? Yeah, because I think Herb Jones is just in a really bad situation, but also Herb Jones has been paid. Herb Jones has been in a steady regression for a couple of years now. Is that context? Is that actual regression? I have no idea. Would have to really study it and have to know. Sorry, Herb is 27, but he will be 29, 30, and 31 during the contract extension. So to show you the screen that I'm looking at, this is Herb's next contract. That's not his current contract. That's his next contract. So yeah, the extension kicks in 2027, 2028. In terms of his previous extension, the very cheap $13 million that he's making at the age of 27 right now, and then you would have him on $15 million next year. Yeah. I okay, like for real, I would trade for Herb Jones in a heartbeat, but that's just me. I've liked him for a really long time. Shout outs to Marion Booth and Mark Booth. If you can't tell, they are married. And they both became new members. Mark, I thought you were already a member. Did you upgrade your membership? Or did you become a member from a second channel? That's pretty dope. Or did you renew your membership? Is CMB one of the top 5 rookies? I already answered this. And already answered this as well. Shout outs to all of you for tuning in, to all 400 of you here at 11 o'clock. Please give this video a like. Please give it a share if you have a Raptor fan in your life who maybe wants to have a community. I think community is very important, and I think membership is very important too. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you to everyone who became a member of this channel. I've mentioned this before, but the membership incentive that YouTube introduced actually is possibly going to allow me to pay off my mortgage. Oh, we do have Matt calling back. Hopefully he's turned off the YouTube. Matt, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So I did have a couple questions for you after tonight's game.
Sure.
So the first one is, where do you think Emmanuel Quickly's trade value is at right now?
It's very low.
Do you think any team would be interested in him? Like, in my head, I've always thought maybe a team that had a guard that went down with an injury. So like, I love the idea of like
Houston
Rockets. Yeah.
Mhm.
maybe Van Vliet and Clint Capella because we need a big, and then I think quickly would
Have you
actually kind of work
watched?
well with Thompson.
Whoa, Van Vliet is not playing for an entire year. First of all, keep that dude away from my team. Second, Clint Capella is trash.
Yeah, you're right.
You
I
you
just
can
think
find
we need another.
you can find a G League player with the skill with Clint Capella's skill set right now. He's really bad. You don't make that
Really, you think he's
trade.
that bad?
Yeah, I think he's pretty bad. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you think he's better than playing just small ball and not having bodies when it comes to bigs, like not having any 7-footers while Portal's out?
I don't value 7-footers nearly as much as I value smart decision makers, defensive switchability. Like, do you really think at this point that CMB is worse than Clint Capella?
No, not at all. I just think that he's
Okay,
six
so
six, and yeah,
yeah, but 6'6" is like Draymond Green is 6'6". What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Like
well, I
he's
think yeah.
like, I mean, I understand I'm comparing him to a generational defender, but at the same time, like this idea of 7-footers is like very archaic. Like, the OKC Thunder won games last year starting Jalen Williams, who's 6'6" at center. They won multiple games that way. I'm not saying it's sustainable long term. Obviously, you get killed on the offensive glass. We are not a very good offensive rebounding team, but at the same time, like if the goal is to get a 7-footer, I would rather trade for Nikola Vucevic if the Chicago Bulls run kind of falls off a little bit. Like, I mean, it's funny because Vuce was like a negative contract like 3 weeks ago, and now they won 5 straight, and suddenly he's like best center in the East. So,
Interesting. So, what do you think a trade for Vooch would look like?
well, honestly, if I was trading with the Chicago Bulls, I would probably target Patrick Williams and Ayo Dosunmu because I don't think you're going to get Vooch. But Vooch would probably be a straight up swap for Jakob Poeltl, and you'd be adding stuff to it.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Kobe White stuff in the chat. What would you be willing to give up for him?
Do you know what Kobe White's contract is?
No, I'm not aware of what it is annually right now.
Okay, let me just check here. Okay, so Kobe makes $12 million. He is an unrestricted free agent next year. And does he have a contract extension? Hold on. He's got to have a contract extension, right? Yeah, he does. No, he doesn't. He does not have a contract extension. So he signed a 3-year, $24 million deal after his rookie extension in 2023. And that is running out this year. So he is actually an expiring contract. That is sucky because if he plays really well for you, you're just going to give him the Emmanuel Quickley contract anyways. He played really well last year. So yeah, it seems like he is on the verge of a major upgrade. And Chicago could be looking to move him just to get off of like a stable asset and get more of a long-term thing, especially since they've had so much success to start the season without him. But then that being said, like, you have the same problem that you had with Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley, which is you don't have a long-term deal with him. He comes here. He has all the leverage. He's an unrestricted free agent. If you give up anything of value for him, you're kind of sunk into extending him because it's the optics of, hey, we traded for a guy. Now we have to re-sign him. It's the same problem we had with Jakob Poeltl. He had all the leverage because you traded a first for him. Now he knows I'm valuable, right? So the trade that gets the guy who is the soon-to-be free agent actually cues how much leverage the player who is the unrestricted free agent actually has. So if you trade like Emmanuel Quickley for Kobe White and Patrick Williams, I think that would, like, I'm more curious why the fuck the Bulls would do that personally.
Me too. Do you think we need a point guard more, or an upgrade, or a center upgrade? Where would you put your priority there?
I don't care about center or point guard. I think we need pull-up jump shooting and we need rim protection. If we could find it in the exact same player, I would love that player. But yeah, I think rim protection would just be very valuable on this team. Like if things really fall apart in Golden State, I wouldn't be opposed to making a trade for Draymond or something like that. I know they'll never trade him, but that's kind of like, yeah, like that was the spirit in which way I was going with the Herb Jones thing. It's just like you have a whole bunch of mediocre wings right now. It's a consolidation thing. The number of mediocre wings that you have right now, it must be chosen down. Like you have to freezes down, because eventually CMB is going to be more of a 3-4. That's kind of a wing adjacent player. If RJ's sticking around, that's a lot of minutes between him, BI, Scotty. Like, that's a lot of wings. You really don't have a ton of space for more than one of Battle, Jacoby, Grady, Ochai. You have 4 of these guys, like 4, and they all get minutes occasionally, right? So it's like I would convert 1 or 2 of those guys into rim protection.
Yeah, the first guy I would trade is Grady when it comes to wings, to be completely honest. But I think the last call I called in and I said I started bringing up like a floor general point guard. And as I watched the team progress, I don't actually think we need one. I think that the team looks the best when Scotty has like 8+ assists. I noticed oddly in the games where quickly he seems to be like really involved and put up more numbers, we seem to get blown out more. And in the games where an RJ scores like 24+ points and he's efficient and he's up there either leading this team in scoring or plus minus,
Mm-hmm.
we get the win. Like the only 3 games we won, RJ played pretty well. And then I notice as well that when Scotty kind of tries to take on too much offensively and has these big games, these 30+ games, like it doesn't necessarily convert into wins, because I feel like Scotty's one of the guys that is really good at impacting the game without necessarily scoring. And he does so much that we can't ask him to necessarily lead us in scoring, especially because we traded for guys like Ingram and Barrett, which is like if they're not scoring it, if they're not involved in the offense, they're almost net negatives to the team overall. So I know, kind of a spiel there, but happy to hear what you think about that.
I think there's a cart and horse, correlation is not causation thing, where you can look at Scotty's mega scoring games and say, does his scoring more impact losses, or does he score more because we're losing? Like, it's a little bit of like the two things happen at the same time. So it's almost like there's so many games where we've been down 12 points, 13 points, and he'll go and have this mega second half. Like, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. The game against San Antonio in Wemby's rookie season, he had 2 points in the half, and then he ended the game with 30 points. Josh Lewenberg infamously once said, can you imagine how good Scotty would be if he didn't just play half days? So, like, there's so many games where I can think of where the comeback came up short, where he put the team on his back in the second half when they were down double digits, and he ended up scoring like 27, 28, 29 points in that game, and they just lost. Or you could also say, you're going to lose those games anyway. Those are the games where he tries to show up the most, right? Like, the hard ones are the ones where, I think you've probably noticed him going at Giannis, going at LeBron, going at KD. Those are the matchups that you can bookmark. That's the game he's going to have a solid scoring game, right? I'm not debating it. I don't think Scotty has been an overtly positive offensive player for most of his career, especially as a scorer. There's a lot that he leaves on the table in terms of spacing. I just think when he has the ball in his hands, good decisions tend to come out of it, but not a lot of defensive manipulation comes out of it. So he's doing the right thing. The defense just doesn't react to him the way I think he would like them to react to him. So it's always a push play between his basketball IQ and his skill set and his potential versus how the defense feels about him. So stretching the defense out will make a huge difference, because forcing that closeout will be the first advantage. Right now, when I swing Scotty the ball, like, let's just say I'm RJ Barrett and I swing Scotty the ball, what happens to the defense? If Scotty's 25 feet from the basket, nothing happens to the defense. If nothing else, the defense only constricts further into the paint because they sag off of him, right? So when we can get to a point where they have to run out to him, right, and he can get now that first step on his defender, now we're talking about like total next level, offensive impact. But the first hurdle he has to occupy is the shooting. The second hurdle he has to jump is the handle. Once his handle gets a little bit tighter and he is able to stay on pace without picking up his dribble, I think from that point on, all the passing, all the physicality, all the scoring, all that stuff is going to come around and it's all going to come together. And it's interesting to note that RJ Barrett is having a career renaissance right now.
Yeah.
And he's 26, 25, 26, right? It can happen later in people's careers. And RJ Barrett was not a project. RJ Barrett was a ready-made star in high school. He's had millions of reps on the ball. So with a player like that, you know, having a renaissance right now, DeMar DeRozan had a playmaking renaissance like later in his early 30s when he got to the Spurs. You know, he became a transformatively better player in his late 20s with the Raptors than he was in his early 20s with the Raptors. Guys do develop at different stages. And I just think a lot of people are so willing to just box Scottie in and just say, he's this is who he is at 24. And it's like, yo, he was further behind than DeMar, RJ, BI, all these guys when he was 19 or 18 offensively. For sure he was further behind. His skill set was further behind. So if he just keeps plugging away at it, he'll get there. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it also kind of makes me think about RJ as well. I feel like almost feels like RJ is like significantly older than Scotty, but he's only a year older. So I was wondering, like, what do you think his ceiling is? Like, what do you think a 28-year-old RJ Barrett looks like on a team with some spacing? Do you think that guy's an all-star? Do you think he's six man? Do you think he could be even on a contending starting lineup?
28-year-old RJ Barrett, if he becomes a way better shooter, like if he continues to hit pull-up, if he can get a pull-up game together, like this is just his mechanics may not exactly lend themselves to pull-up jump shooting, so he might just be like more of a standstill guy. But as his athleticism declines, he needs to find a different advantage because again, that athleticism is already like teetering on the edge of serviceable in the NBA level. He's not like some pogo, mega athlete, right? He's also not a mega shooter. He's also not
Yeah.
like mega big for his position. So I think the other parts of his game have to round out if he wants to be a starter at 28. But at worst case, he's a six man.
Yeah, no, I agree. He could be a really good six man, but kind of leads me to another question here.
We have time for one more,
Say
man.
we were to, pardon?
I have time for one more question. I don't want to
Okay,
cut you
cool.
short, but we have been going for over 2 hours and 40 minutes right now. So we're approaching the end of this live.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we'll wrap it up with this. If you were to swap quickly out of the starting lineup, today's starting lineup for someone on the bench, who would you swap in?
I would swap in for, is this assuming Jakob Poeltl is healthy? Or no?
If you want, you could do one with Portal healthy and one with just CMB playing small ball. Because I already know if it's no Portal, I'd probably go Mamu. But if Portal is playing, it kind of makes it more interesting. Like, would you go Ochai? Would you go Jacoby? Would you try to put Grady in there? And
If Jacoby wasn't
him-
shooting so
yeah.
shit, I would go Jacoby 100% of the time. Because Jacoby is shooting like as poorly as he is right now, it's making it really hard for me because teams are not really respecting his jump shot right now. And that's
Yeah.
weird to me because he shot really well last year. He has a good track record in priors as a shooter. So he should be a guy that teams aggressively close out to. Armin saying battle, honestly, I don't think so. I just think you need somebody to be able to pressure the ball, and Scotty and Brandon Ingram are not going to do it, and RJ is not going to do it. So you need either Jacoby or Emmanuel in the starting lineup. And
How about Ochai?
I don't think Ochai is as good at it as Jacoby is. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think Ochai's defensive value comes more from his utility defensively. Like he's a quick athlete in transition. He can guard the rim. He can get up. He's explosive, all that stuff. I don't think Ochai Agbaji is necessarily playing well enough to warrant starting over Emmanuel quickly. Like you would have to make this change with an idea of like additive effect, because the worst way to lose a locker room is to make a mega shift like this in your starting lineup and it backfires immediately. Right. So you have to be very, very cognizant because the player you bench, they won't want to buy into the bench role because pretty much nobody does want to buy into a bench role when they've been a career starter for the last couple of years. But if it also results in losing, that's how people get fired. So
but with Quickly, it's not like he's been a career starter. It's like New York, they didn't want to pay him because they didn't want to start him necessarily. It's like I don't think he would ever get more than $25 million.
They have an all NBA point guard, so that's one thing. And second, there were a couple of teams that wanted to see him as a starting point guard. Number three, he was borderline six man of the year. So usually six man of the year is kind of a compliment, saying you could probably start on a lot of teams. So I think there's and also he started his whole life like prior to New York. He's been a starter. Like it's not like he came off the bench in high school. He was a good player. So yeah, that's how I see it. Like I think Emmanuel Quickley hopefully will play a lot better, and he started to hit more threes, and hopefully the rest of his game can come into it. And obviously he's paying a lot of attention to the noise because he's not taking a lot of shots right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, man,
Yeah.
thanks for calling in.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too, man. Have a good night,
Peace.
bro.
You too. All right. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed that conversation or any of the other conversations we've had. Shout outs to Layne, shout outs to Matt, shout outs to Daryl, aka Professor Pixel, and shout outs to our callers, and shout outs to all of you. Almost 400 people, three hours into this is pretty dope. It's a pretty great community that we got building up here. And shout outs to our new members. And actually, I want to give a shout out to Marion Booth and Mark Booth. Shout outs to you, Rafael Montano. Thank you so much. And a quick shout out to our VIP members: Susan Garrett, Springer, Stanley WK, Pepperjack, Karen Hall, ApexGlassOn, Courtside 6, Disc Revered, and ESPNNeedsIKD. Shout outs to our VIP members who are making my dreams come true. Thank you so much. Did we talk about the Bobby interview? I'm late. What Bobby interview? What Bobby interview? Please don't do this to me, bro. What is the Bobby interview? Do I need to pull this up? Like what? Oh, the Sportsnet interview? Is it fluff? No, I see it. I mean, is it fluff? Spurs fan 12 said he was asked if he's making more trades. What did he say? That's nothing. He said that many times before. I don't think that's anything worth breaking down, but shout outs to Bobby Webster. That's totally fluff. There's always moves to make. He's actually gone further than that, pretty much saying he can guarantee you that this roster will not look the same. So yeah. Anyways, talk to y'all later. Have a great one. And if you want to see the interview with Bobby Webster, it's a 4-minute interview on Sportsnet. I'm not going to play it. All right. Peace. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.